My order to you all is simple, yet heed it well, and exert yourselves to see it done. They are coming. Kill them all. Kill them all.
Oh boy, you ready for this? Man, we got all the sound dialed in today. Producer Kyle, Special K, Kylo Trin in the house. Yeah, we're gonna have it going today. Gonna do something a little bit different with today's show, I think. Gonna get back to basics here. Yeah, we'll probably talk about some flaming blue-haired homosexual. I can't say for sure. Welcome to the live from Las Vegas, Nevada at Red One Studios. Yes, the greatest city, the Southern Command Center, which is the only command center now. But I think you guys can relate. Thank you for joining us on another Sunday afternoon. Let's get started, shall we?
I will legalize trenbolone acetate. I will legalize testosterone. I will legalize Anadrol, D-bol, all the others. We will legalize Anavar. We will legalize insulin in high dosages. We will legalize every performance-enhancing drug in the United States. You will be able to buy them over the counter. We are going to make America great again. Get out and vote, folks. Thank you so much. Happy Monday.
Or when users of big online platforms have their content or accounts removed, throttled, shadow banned, or otherwise restricted, no matter what name they use, they should have the right to be informed that it's happening, the right to a specific explanation of the reason why, and the right to a timely appeal.
Yeah, I'm finna vote for you again, nigga. I didn't even go outside on Tuesday. But bitch, hey, nigga, now you speaking my motherfucking language. Fuck that money. Fuck them damn stimulus, nigga. Come on, cause I'm gonna put my suit on. Let's go up there. Come on, let's go up there. Right now.
If you don't know who Super Ray is, you have to follow him right now.
Economic rise of women has achieved what Gloria Steinem set out to achieve, which is to make marriage a choice rather than a necessity. That argument, which was really about changing the economic relation between men and women so that women weren't economically reliant on men, that was the central argument of that wave of the women's movement, and very largely achieved. And I would argue that's probably the greatest economic liberation in human history.
Yeah, I'd argue
it's still
against
playing
that,
out.
Rich.
We need to do more in other parts of the world. But one consequence of that is to then put a big question mark next to the role of men. Right? So I think underpinning a lot of these issues that we see kind of playing out for boys and men is really there's just a gap.
Yeah.
There's a space with a question mark in it now, which used to be filled with a whole script of ways to be a man, ways to be a dad, ways to be a head of household, etc. And so we've torn up those old scripts by and large in these advanced economies, which is great. But I would say that we've replaced the old script that women had, the one my mum had. Right? So the script my mum had was you're going to be a wife and a mother, primarily. She was also a nurse, but part-time. So skip forward one generation to my sister, my wife, my female friends. And it was, you're going to be able to stand on your own 2 feet.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. That only works when there's a blank slate and there's social constructionism and there's emotionalism and there's egalitarianism, which are all bullshit imaginings of your head.
Men need someone better than them, smarter than them, fitter than them, bigger than them, more inspiring than them, more successful than them. Otherwise, where's the attraction?
It's true.
I'm asking. Maybe some women don't mind, but I mind. I need to be inspired by the guy. Otherwise, I'll eat them for breakfast. I mean, I'll finish them off in 24 hours. I just, I also need someone to handle me. And only an alpha or a double alpha can do that.
Yeah.
Double alpha? Fucking A, who are you? Tell me what a double alpha is.
High value men truly are. Your high value is determined by the level of woman you can get to submit to you. That's your value. Yes. The highest level of woman that you can get to submit to you. Now, if the highest level of woman you can get to kind of submit and look after and be loyal to you is a stripper, or is like they usually get a lot of OnlyFans models. So that's the highest level of woman you can get to be loyal to you. You're not high value.
Who's determining how high value a stripper is?
If you can get a woman who is up there, has plenty of options, and is inaccessible, highly loyal, if you can get that woman to submit to you, that's when you're high level.
Minus the highly loyal part, she just described a stripper.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you want to know whether you're a high value man, look at the highest level of women you can get to totally be loyal to you. And if it's low, you're not that high value. The other thing that they do that I find really bizarre is they take low value women.
I love how your value as a man is determined by like how the estimation of a woman,
and kind of like speak to them badly and teach men to disrespect to their woman, like to kind of be rude to them and not give them too much and give them less. But this was what truly high value men do. They pick wisely. They pick super wisely. They're highly selective with the women that they choose, and then when they've chosen her correctly,
yes, because they're all such good judges of character,
they spoil her endlessly. They put her through the ringers. It's like, when you go to 6-7 rounds of an interview, what Fresh and Fit teach is take any kind of woman and then don't give her too much, play games, treat her harshly. That's not what high value men do.
Yeah, I'm not sure you know exactly what Fresh and Fit are talking about. And if you did, you certainly haven't given them the time of day to even discuss this.
They've got a reputation.
One of the reasons why she doesn't do this, she won't take any challenges. She won't take any debates. She won't take anything like this. She'll never go on Fresh and Fit. Myron has tried to get her on the show several times. She just simply puts them on read. That's all because she knows that they'll just call her out for her fake bullshit.
Dismantle her.
They can't just take any old girl and then try and train her. They ain't got time for that. They take a woman who's been well trained by her family.
Follow Masculine Craze.
Right. Where do you find that? Oh, God. And then this guy.
They attach women. They're quieter. They're not on social media. Sure as hell not on Tinder.
This fat fuck's going to tell you what a quality woman is.
They're usually out there quiet in their social circles looking for someone to build with. They're not where most men are looking for them. And most guys have no idea where the good women are. You don't
Well, where are they, fat ass?
hear about those good connections because it's not popular.
They're in Barnes & Noble.
It doesn't go viral. That's what I'm telling you guys, though, is there's a whole other layer that's invisible to most people because the research shows 2/3 of people are insecurely attached. This is...
I have to stop this here. When I got with my BPD girlfriend back in the day when I was in my 20s and stuff like that, I met her not at a club, not at a party, not at a gig. I met her in the college library or the college bookstore. I was buying textbooks and that's where I met her. I swear to God.
Opportunity for you guys to find that deeper connection, have a better experience than most people have right now. That's the component. For your second half of your life, bro, your first half was only the appetizer. The second half is so much more, and that's what you're building with a woman.
I should also point this out. When I met my wife, it was at a club after a gig.
The ideal is sex and marriage are the same thing. And I don't believe that most people's marriages are actually in protection of sex and children. I think that most people's marriages are convenient. So right now, the term marriage, my understanding of it from a biblical level, is something that I totally believe to be bounded in sex. That's no longer part of marriage nowadays.
Marriage today is not real marriage. Marriage has to have a purpose beyond we have good feelings and we will continue until one of us dies or doesn't want to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. Purposeless marriage is pointless marriage.
What's the purpose? I will ask you once again, fat ass, what problems does marriage solve? No one's been able to get, and I didn't ask that question, by the way. That was James Sexton who asked.
Marriage with a purpose, sex before that, you can't. Otherwise, you are joining together with somebody randomly and then banging your genitals together so that you overwhelmingly flood with brain chemicals that will
rock on.
Will make you stupid, and then you don't have the compatibility conversations you need to, and it leads to disaster and heartbreak, which is why 98% of relationships break up.
What? Does this guy look? I mean, does this guy look like somebody you would try? Like, your wife says we need marriage counseling. You open the door and this dude's there.
Would be satisfied with a man who's 80% of everything they want. 2/3 say no, I deserve it all. You pose the same question to a man and 2/3 say yes, that would be great. So media and online dating to a certain extent have massively raised the expectations of women, and you can't tell people to lower their expectations. And there are fewer and fewer men who meet those expectations. We've all seen those.
Did you catch that, Dr. Richard Reeves? You can't tell them to lower their expectations. Well, sure you can, because they're all blank slates and we're all socially constructed and everything.
TikToks of women who are asked, what are your minimum requirements for a man? And it usually comes down to 2 key criteria, height and money. He has to be at least 6 feet tall, has to make at least $100,000. That doesn't sound that unreasonable. But if you take out married men and you go 21 to 50, that's 0.6% of the population. And because now people are meeting online, where those metrics become more important than everything, people aren't connecting. And so what we have is a series of very base criteria that are eliminating the majority of the pool of men for consideration from women. Women end up dating older, oftentimes also end up lonely. Young men have a very few prospects and become lonely. The difference is they become dangerous to society and to themselves.
Yeah, and they believe in global warming.
Are you looking for a man in finance? No, I'm not.
Finance, trust fund, 6'5", blue eyes.
I'm looking for like someone with a dad bod. I was trying to make fun of single girls, who I'm a single girl as well, who complain about being single, but then like have all these needs that are impossible.
So you're telling me the blue eyes white dragon that every girl's looking for was ironically adopted from the girl that was just secretly making fun of their ridiculous standards? Huh. That's gangster.
Last year he leaked a message of mine that I sent to someone that I thought was my friend. And in that message I mentioned Lauren. You know? I mentioned her because there was a lot of stuff going on, obviously. Like, this is something we already know. I don't really know why people are speculating. Like, I think people can just put the puzzle pieces together.
No, you intentionally like obfuscated that from actually happening about a year and a half ago, dumb bitch.
Like, really easily. If
you and
okay, these things
destiny.
I even mentioned, and then people asked about it, and then he said that
Who couldn't piece that together? Well, I'll tell you who couldn't. Destiny, because Andrew Wilson asked him point blank on several occasions, and he dodged like an eel in the weeds, man.
Got jealous because they streamed so much. That's not really what happened.
Yeah, they fucked. Can you just say they fucked?
I feel like it's pretty clear to who is not being honest here of what actually happened. There's so many things, and so many people that have said what happened. And if he wants to deny that, fine. But I feel like, you know, not everyone is perfect, and a lot of these people are pretty intense, you know? So maybe it's hard to trust, but you can also see patterns in how people behave and stuff. She did not lie. She did not lie.
She's talking about Brittany Simon.
And I think it's really clear she didn't lie. That's what I'm saying, because she didn't lie. It's very, very clear.
Well, there you have it. Finally, the confirmation everybody was looking for. Well, Rolo, I don't know if that Brittany Simon chick is like really reliable. How about Melina? Can we just go with Melina? It's all over the place, man. Yeah, I was looking at the chat earlier. Somebody was saying that there was. I've seen the leaks.
Yeah.
Oh God, I don't even. It was like I was coming up last night, and I'm doing show prep last night, and I'm like, should I talk about these leaks? And I'm like, no. I mean, I'm at the point right now where I'm just kind of over it, because I think pretty much I've been vindicated on the whole Lauren Southern baby trap shit. Yep. And now even Milo Yiannopoulos is starting to pile on too, and Milo's I still consider the guy a pretty good friend. he's been piling on with Lauren Southern, talking about, like, I mean, Lauren Southern has a history with Andrew Tate, by the way, has a history with Tommy Robinson as well, British guy, if you know who Tommy Robinson is. And then, he was also saying Paul Joseph Watson. Well, in fact, he was I should show you guys this. It's if you follow Milo Yiannopoulos, he just put out this one tweet where he was showing some like necklace of some kind that she lost when she was banging Paul Joseph Watson that he has that he was given to Milo, and here we are, like, 4 or 5 years later, and he's like posting it as a picture on his Twitter. Man, let me tell you something. I love me some Milo, because like the new Milo, oh my God, he is just like, he is savage, absolutely savage. Yes. Is he heterosexual? I think he's trying to be heterosexual. Yeah. So yeah, Tiffany, hi. Yeah, Tiffany, I'm in the middle of a show. Now there you go. She starts texting me in the middle of the show. Why does everybody text me in the middle of the show? It's 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern every Sunday. Always has been, always will be. Thank you, Pat Campbell. You're welcome. Did you guys like the intro today?
It's fucking awesome.
Was that cool?
Should we go part 2 with?
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, wait, go ahead. Yeah.
I am Angron, demon primarch of the world eaters.
I love that. We have new sound effects in here today. This is great. Well, wait. Do you want to do the Destiny one?
I think I don't have it on here.
Do you have it? The higher one, the high pitch one. Is that it? No. Audio's doing good. The new board is fantastic, man. You didn't have to do it. That's okay. That's all right. But it's pretty cool. Rollo, as an 80-year-old member of the Little Hat religion, here is a donation. Thank you very much. Shalom Aleichem. Ned Tomasi's bris. Well, considering Ned had his nuts snipped a long time ago, I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. So now which way to the hole puncher show? Yeah, there you go. Thank you. And by the way, all of your super chats are very welcome, simply because that's the only way I'm making money off of this stream anymore, because apparently I'm not technically demonetized on this channel, but like I'm still shadow banned as hell. My ad revenue is non-existent, basically. So I do these because I love doing these shows. I do them because it's a labor of love. That's the number one reason I keep doing this show. And then clips. It's great for my clips. So that's it. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to my clips channel, please subscribe to the clips channel. What do you got here? A girl yells out, "Grape me," at Kurt Cobain, replies by saying, "We're not allowed to play that song on MTV." That's why they should read the Rational Mail. Yeah, they should have read it back then, right? I don't understand why Michael Knowles is okay with taking a rational approach when it comes to politics in order to win, but when it comes to dating, we should forgive ex OnlyFans girls, and it's okay to date them and marry them. That's because it fits with his Christian ideology, and you're probably talking about Nala Fit. And I've done that show. I did that show. I got the T-shirt. Thank you very much. And the reason for that is because recently, I guess Nala went back on whatever podcast. And of course, it's always a good time when Nala comes on the show, because she's she's been re-virginized, apparently. The Lord has forgiven her. Why can't you? But she went on there and essentially just said, "Hey, I played the game. I faked it. Essentially, she's just saying it was all bullshit and it was an act." And of course, the first thing I did was throw in, I had to at Michael Knowles in one of my comments. And I think that's probably what he's reacting to right now. And so much so they had to do like a 9-minute video to sort of clear the air and go, well, she wasn't talking about the overall thing and her conversion. She was just saying she was faking out all you idiots when she was on OnlyFans and everything. And it's like, you know what? Quite honestly, I think the most honest and the most genuine and authentic that Nala Fit has ever been is when she was an OnlyFans chick. And everything since then has just been this one big fucking dog and pony show. Since then, it's just smoke and mirrors from this point on. And I keep saying this, and maybe Michael Knowles needs to hear. I don't know who needs to hear this. Maybe it's Michael Knowles. The the sad fact is that if anybody even like hints at wanting to be sort of like, have this sort of literally come to Jesus moment with you, you will drop everything. It doesn't matter nothing like enters the brain and says, you know what, is this bullshit or is this not bullshit? It's if it agrees with your ideology, if it agrees with your spiritual beliefs, if it agrees with your religious beliefs, whatever it is, even like hints at it. The problem is if you say something that is like, in any way doubtful, you're not doubting the person, you're doubting your own religion. You're doubting the fact that your religion, my religion can change lives. Well, if you say, is she really honest and sincere about this? That doesn't even enter the equation. And I think that's one of the reasons why Andrew Wilson, I think Rachel Wilson probably as well, had such a tough time. And by the way, she still had an OnlyFans for quite some time after her quote unquote conversion and baptism and everything else. And honestly, I understand Andrew Wilson's frustration with her because like, there's nothing you could, by the way, Andrew, if you're watching, there's no way you win. You don't win this. You can't win the argument with her because you're arguing against God. And everybody on that show, all those girls that are there, they think they're on the right side. And they're just going to go, oh, yes. Oh, that doesn't sound like something a Christian would say, Andrew. Yay. Oh, you are being judgmental and you're casting the first stone. Yay. Oh, you're doubting the prodigal daughter returneth. Oh, it doesn't sound like what a Christian would say. Yay. Trust me, I've been dealing with it. I wrote an entire book on this. It's called The Rational Male Religion. There's several chapters dedicated to the can't argue with God dilemma. And that's I love me some Andrew, I understand, but he's now dealing with what I had to deal with a long time ago. How dare you? There.
How dare you?
How dare you question my religion? How about the sincerity? Of course, anybody coming to Jesus is always sincere. No one would ever do such a thing without being held accountable by the Lord. Wait, where do we go? Okay. Would love. Oh, hey, there you go. You can have one. Would love to hear your opinion on Mads Larsen saying that the female freedom in Norway is of greater importance than Norway continuing to exist. Agree or disagree? I personally think the freedom most speak of is an illusion, but we are a delusional species. I don't know who she is per se, Mads Larsen. Is she the one? Oh, she was talking about Norway. Maybe is she a politician in Norway? Wouldn't surprise me because most Scandinavian countries are run almost entirely by cabinets of women. But it's par for the course. And if you would like me to expound upon that, I will. When men organize societies, they do it hierarchically. When women organize societies, it's done in the round. Now, I usually, when I bring up this fact, I usually kind of harp on men being hierarchical, and I'd kind of leave it's pretty self-evident to me that women do society and they organize society in the round. And so it's a communitarian society, a communitarian way of organizing things seems like the natural fit for most women because there's fundamental differences in the male psyche and the female psyche. For men, hierarchies seem like the best way of doing things because it's ideally based on meritocracy. If you do more than the next guy, you outperform the next guy. You should be rewarded with prestige, with status, with money, with food, with whatever, with pussy, whatever it is, right? And that's how men sort of like establish this pecking order. That's how you have alphas and bravos and deltas and gammas and omegas. And don't ask me to go through sociosexual hierarchies right now. I will later if you want. But that's how you kind of get that pecking order, right? Not let's say that there's not a pecking order when it comes to women, but when women organize societies, they are far more likely to compromise personal individual freedom and especially freedom of speech if it means that the collective is going to be better taken care of. Okay, so when it comes to like redistributing wealth, when it comes to redistributive policies, women tend to opt for those things because it seems like the best for all involved, right? And okay, so how does that happen? Well, when you look at how human societies naturally came up through the ages, through our ancestral past to where we're at right now, men were the hunters. We would go out, we go and kill, and we didn't necessarily always have to be big game. It could be fishing, it could be whatever, but you go out, kill the caribou, bring it back. Whoever brings back the most meat gets the most pussy. He gets to be the chief of the tribe, right? He's the guy, or maybe the elders are wise and whatever. But that is what established the hierarchy of male oriented society. When women organize societies, like I said, it's in the round, it's in socialism seems like a good idea, right? Communitarian seems like a good idea because for women are the weaker sex, okay? Or I should say the vulnerable sex. And as such, the natural fit for women is that there is strength in numbers, right? So that's why women tend to opt for communitarianism amongst the gatherers, right? They're hunters and the gatherers. Women were the berry pickers. Beta males were also the berry pickers. And then it seems like a better idea if a collective of women are all on the same are all getting the same thing, right? So it's one for you and one for you and one for you and one for you and one. And Susan, you're pregnant. Here's 2 for you and 1 for you, Sally, and 1 for you, Michelle, and 1 for you, Diane, whatever. And here you go. And it seems like that seems like logic because everything is done in sort of a communitarian, egalitarian thing. If you wonder why we are so attached to ideas like social constructionism, the blank slate, emotionalism, and egalitarianism, it is because we have opted to allow women to organize society for us since the sexual revolution. So that's how you get someone like Mads Larsen saying that female freedom in Norway is of greater importance than Norway continuing to exist. Continuing to exist, if you look at nationalities, if you look at borders, if you want to know why does it seem like nobody asks these questions when we talk about like open borders and we talk about like immigration, we talk about deporting illegal aliens and all this other stuff and we do this every election cycle and nothing happens. We just talk about it. Nothing really happens. Nobody builds a wall. Nobody does jack shit because we use it as a campaign issue. And then we forget about it. Once the guy, whoever it is, wins or loses, whatever, then poof, like a fart in the wind. Nobody talks about it. Same thing with abortion. Same thing with women's reproductive rights. Same thing with whatever. It's the same. You notice this every 4 years. Hell, even every 2 years, right? When we get into the midterms in the United States, it's always the same conversations. It's always the same issues. Maybe it's race. Maybe it's women's reproductive rights, like in 2022, of course, it was, kicking Roe v. Wade to the states. That was a big deal. And really all it is and nobody talked about it right up until the election cycle of 2024, right? And so that's why we keep having these things come up because we know that this is what's going to agitate female voters, right? What's going to agitate male voters? How about immigration, right? We don't want them to come over here, right? And so when we're looking at like open borders, one of the reasons why open borders or like immigration is such a big deal for like sort of like this liberal progressive wokesy sort of mindset is because it coincides and it agrees quite well with the idea of communitarianism. Wouldn't it be a great idea if we just open borders and everybody could just be part of everything? We just have this big, gigantic, North American combine of all the Mexico and South America and Canada and everybody else. Can't we all just get along? And the answer is no. The answer obviously is no, right? And why is that? Because a hierarchical way of looking at society is a much more practical, much more realistic, less emotional, more rational way of looking at things. And so when you're looking at when we're deciding how to organize societies, and by that I mean who's going to be in political power, whenever women come into political power, they always think of the sisterhood first. They don't think of anybody else but themselves. So, and usually that's from a collectivist, communitarian mindset. And whenever we talk, I've gotten in these conversations before, and it really pisses people off. And I can't really get into it too much because it's not like a bumper sticker. It's not something you could just like sort of just finish up a conversation in 5 minutes with. It's something that you kind of have to get involved in. So just so you can understand, there's evolutionary reasons why women have this sort of mentality when it comes to organizing societies. And so when you put women into positions of power, that's what they lean towards. And when you put women into positions of education and you put them into positions of like social preeminence, let's just say, so you put them into social program, like social work, you put them into social sciences, when you put them into psychology, when you put them into the legal system, which by the way is becoming more and more dominated by female judges, female attorneys, female defendants, defenders, whatever it is. The legal system is inundated with women right now, almost more so than psychology. And I was just made aware of this like recently. I've just been sort of like had a keen interest in this because I saw so many female judges that were coming up for the last election cycle, and they ran unopposed. And so when we start talking about, we need to get more, we really need to get more men involved in teaching positions. Well, that's a noble cause, Dr. Richard Reeves. How about we put more men into local like politics, like your county commission, your mayorship, your board of commissioners, whatever it is, like the county department, because every single one of those people who were running for those offices this year were female. I think I might have out of probably about a dozen different offices, I think I saw maybe 3 or 4 guys running for those, and they were running against women who are already the incumbents, right? And I'm just like, if you want to look at the fundamental differences in sort of like the psychology of political science or politics, like how women and men sort of will run the world or run the governments, women have a much different approach, and it's like unignorable. I think maybe now we're finally beginning to see that. And so I think it's funny that we want to make these pushes for like, oh, we need to elect more females into office, right? And then you go, well, if gender is a social construct, then why would that matter? They never have an answer for that. If that's the case, why do we want to have 50-50 parity between, if at all? We don't really. They just want simply to have a majority of women in it. I still get this today. Like people go, that there's more men on the Supreme Court of the United States than there are women. I go, yeah, by a margin of 1, by a margin of 1, and it's like, there's a reason that the founding fathers made it like an uneven number, right? Yep. I think it was like I think we're at 9, right? It used to be more than that. They've fluctuated between, but it's almost always been an uneven number, right? So they don't have that deadlock. And so really what they're pissed off about is that if there's 4 women and 5 guys, they think that those 5 guys are going to stand together, lock arms, and vote because they just have penises, right? And it's like, no, that's actually not the way it works, especially when it's like a liberal, a justice, right? And so like women will do that almost unilaterally. It doesn't matter what the issues are. They will always lock arms and vote for the sisterhood, right? Men, on the other hand, like we'd much rather use our rational brains as opposed to the emotional side of things. And women lead with emotion, men lead with rationalism. And again, if you want the hard data on that, I'm more than happy to give it to you. But yeah, that's pretty much where I would go with this. Primarily, women are less interested in personal freedoms, and they will sacrifice personal freedoms for security, because women's primary goal in life is long-term security, and that also shines through when they're organizing societies. Here's a donation for the Shadow Band Fund. Thank you very much, from the Gem State. What is the Gem State? Is that? It can't be. We're the Silver State, right? Rational redneck. I'd rather date an OF girl with a public history that I know about than finding out a waitress I married is a former escort with 400 plus body count. Yeah, but rational redneck, the Lord's forgiven her. Why can't you? Oh, you must not be a believer, son. Let's see. Due to the unflattering description of hypergamy within your series of books, unflattering, I don't think it's unflattering. Women's solipsism would intervene and prevent them from acknowledging the truth. In some, a waste of time. Oh, so you're trying to, thank you for answering my topic of today, why the red pill works for women. I'll explain that topic to you here in just a moment. Critique: having online thoughts on interviews and telling men to pull up your bootstraps only perpetuates the issue. Maybe have normal men and women debate. Okay, would you like me to give you the normal speech again? I'll give what do you give me? $5. Okay, so you deserve the normal speech. Here's what I'd like you to do, Token. The next time you're in a major metropolitan airport, I want you to go through TSA. And then when you're going from TSA and you're taking that walk from TSA to your gate, wherever your plane is, right? And hopefully it's like an airport like LAX or Las Vegas or Denver or some big metropolis, right? And you walk from TSA to your gate, put your phone away. Don't bring it out, because that's what everybody does when they're walking and they bump into each other. I see it all the fucking time. Put it away, and I want you to people watch. I want you to just look around you. Look how many people are overweight. Look how many people are obese. Look how many people are just like this. This is a cross section of America. When you that's why I love this experiment, because it's the only time people really have a chance to see sort of this vast pool of humanity that is the American populace, right? And you will and count how many women are attractive, count how many men are attractive, count how many guys are above 5'10", or even 5'10", right?
Yeah.
Count how many people have kids, count how many women are, well, I mean, it would probably be better if you just counted people who you found attractive, who you think would, like, count how many people you think Rollo Tomasi and Mike Sartain or Brian or Myron and Fresh would have on their show, would want on their show. Like, I've seen chicks just like that on Fresh and Fit. Like, count how many you see. I guarantee you it will be zero. The number will be zero. and if it's not zero, it'll be like 1 or 2 maybe out of unwashed masses of thousands of people. You don't want normal. Normal sucks. Normal is not something that anybody, like, if it was just normal people, they would have boring ass conversations. They'd be like, well, I don't know, man. I just woke up this morning. I had my oatmeal and I went to work and I came home and I had a beer and I watched Survivor and I went to bed. Like, that's what it would be. So the thing is like, normal is who the fuck is normal? That's what I'd like to know. It's like, what is normal? Who is fucking normal? Is normal the girl from the Amish Dutch country in Pennsylvania? Or is normal the girl you met at your evangelical revival, worship team musical, whatever, I don't even know what to call it. Is that normal? Like, what the fuck defines normal? And I love it when I get this. I'm not trying to flame you or anything like that, but like I often get this, is like, they'll be like, oh, those girls on your show, man, they're fake. Okay, well, what's fake about them? Well, their tits are fake, or their lips are fake, or their butts are fake, or this is fake and that is fake. And I'm just like, okay, well, if that's the case, they're like, oh, I want a natural girl. Like, okay, tell you what, send me a picture of a girl that you think we ought to have on the show, is normal and is natural. I'm still waiting. 2.5 years later, still waiting on that fucking picture. No one has given me a picture. So, I mean, as soon as I've got a benchmark to work against, maybe I'll consider it. But like, seriously, look for like, normal is who you see at the airport going from TSA to your gate, man. And it is not a pretty sight. I can tell you that right now. Rollo, people out Cooley for getting with single mummy. Okay. Out Cooley. 4B is just okay. 4B. God, you know what you're not going to hear about in 2025? 4B. You will not hear about. You're hearing about it now. Did anybody know what 4B was before November 5th? or November 6th? Did anybody know what 4B was? No, you didn't. You had no earthly idea what 4B was, right? You knew what 4-H was before you would know what 4B is. Just another example of women using their sexuality to get political attention. Fuck them bitch. Fuck them bitch. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. God damn it. I thought I had Big Mo on here. Where's Big Mo? I guess I don't have him on here. Fucking A. Here.
Tell that bitch to be cool.
There you go. You can have that instead. Yeah. Now the whole thing. So I would you like me to repeat this again? I'll repeat it. Here's the deal: is with the whole thing with 4B and everything. It's so funny because it's the natural recourse, or the first reflexive reaction for women is, we're gonna snap our legs shut and not fuck you guys. You weren't fucking them in the first place. Okay, go right ahead. And but of course everybody laughs at that and they go, well, if they had thought about that, then I guess abortion and reproductive rights wouldn't be such an issue this time around. Okay, funny. Yes, it was. But the thing is I keep throwing this out there. People want to fight me on this, and you won't fight me on it now. But if I say this in another 3 months, people will fight me on it. Women's only agency in this life is their sexuality. It is the only thing they have going for them. And every woman on some instinctive, subconscious level of consciousness, whatever, understands this from a very early age. From the time that boys start paying attention to girls, they understand that they have a certain power over guys, right? And if they want attention, they take their clothes off. That's the reflexive, like instinctual reaction. It's the reflex, right? So if women need attention, or if they're protesting something, take your clothes off. If it's if the old actress or the old rock star, or if it's what is it? What? Anybody have you seen the video of Avril Lavigne?
No,
she's a piggy now. Oh my God. Somebody called her piggy hot. I go, no, that's just pig. No, but she's showing off like ass cheek and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think, okay, you're a performer. I kind of get it. I deal with women who show off their bodies all the time. And by the way, ladies, keep doing it. I have no problem whatsoever with that, but let's just call a spade a spade. Your only agency with men really in this life is your sexuality. And that's why women, when they start to lose that power and they lose that agency, that's when they don't know how to deal with it. That's when the frustration comes out. You don't hear women saying men have fragile egos and men only want to get with young girls because they're afraid of strong, powerful, independent women who are 30 plus years old or 35. You will hear that from women who are 33, 34, 35 years old. You don't hear that from women who are 23, 24, 25 because they're at the top of their game. Why? That wouldn't even occur to a hot chick at 23 years old. 33, 34, 35. Yes. Oh, I can't get with Rolo. Where are all the good men? They're in your 20s where you left them. I know that's fine. People ask me that and they laugh at that. But the thing is the reason why I always use that is because when women are in their 20s and in their mid 20s, they don't even realize that they're at the top of their game. And that's, the joke, right? Is there's a reason they call the store Forever 21 and not Forever 41. Because when you get past that, everything that you're doing to prolong that agency and prolong your beauty and prolong your fertility and prolong the idea that you are young and youthful and everything else all goes back to 22 years old, 23 years old. Women will always try to get back to that point in their lives where they had the most agency because they're on top. The world was their oyster. And I saw Myron Gaines was on Tim Pool just last week, and I was watching him, and the topic came up, and this is not something that Myron's unfamiliar with, but the topic came up about how women sort of time out or expire out of the sexual marketplace, right? And so he's saying, look, women's age, and he's not wrong. I'm pretty sure he's probably like channeling me or paraphrasing something I've written. But I said, look, when like women's sexuality, women's fertility, women's beauty, women's agency is perishable, and the older women get, the more it decays. This is not some super revelation. And then, of course, what Tim Pool has to say is, I disagree. You're wrong. Here's why. Right? I love that. And by the way, what happened to Tim Pool? I thought he was leaving the scene. I thought he was out. I thought he was long gone. Isn't this the guy that just said, "Hey, I'm taking a break. I don't have a crew anymore," and so now I'm leaving because for a guy who didn't have anybody to run his show, suddenly they magically reappeared. No, he said something to the effect of, well, he looks at Myron and he goes, "You're wrong. I'll tell you why." Okay, and Myron's like, "All right," and he's like, "Because of AI." Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, AI filters will like make like old women look like they're young. Like, yeah, online. I'm like, I don't know if you know, and I like me some Tim, don't get me wrong, but like, I don't know if you know this, Tim, but there's online world and there's real world. Okay. And eventually those two are going to have to meet somewhere along the way. And what's funny to me is the same people who will complain about how status is fake and prestige is fake and like everything online is fake and gay and French, right? These are the same people who will say, well, men, if you're trying to be a pickup artist and you're trying to run these lines on girls and you're trying to take a picture by your Lamborghini and it's not yours, it's rented or whatever, you're basically faking the cues of high status, right? Eventually, you're going to get found out. okay, but the girl is not going to get found out with AI, with the filters in AI. Really? No. And so like, I get what, I get the concern. I think this is just something like Tim pulled out of his ass at the last minute, because he's got a chick on the show as well who's like, you could tell she's just bristling at Myron during the whole thing. But the fact of the matter is like women's agency is perishable. It decays. And even if that woman, like I've said this a million times, every time we talk about the wall, the quote unquote wall, like too many guys are either too happy or too fucking pissed off about the wall. They're too happy because they think, you're going to hit the wall. The wall waits for no one. The wall is undefeated. Right. Yeah. Eventually. But then there's the guys who are just too pissed off about it. Well, a woman who's 45 years old, she just has to go down to the local bar and spread her legs and she can get laid anytime she wants. Guys can't do that. Well, if she's past the quote unquote wall, then how would she be able to do? Right. So it's like, you can't win with these guys. And so I'll explain to you the Rollo Tomasi definition of the wall, which is it's not a physical thing. The wall doesn't start here. The wall starts here. And so when a woman gets to be about 33 years old, at some point along the way, she realizes that she's not going to be able to compete in the sexual marketplace to the same level of performance that she could when she was 23. That's all that the wall is. It's when that woman makes that acknowledgement. She can no longer compete at the same level as when she was in her prime. That's all it is. So, for instance, I know women like Kindly Myers, who is 39 years old, and people will still not believe me that she's 39 years old. She is absolutely fucking stunning and is just a hammer and is funny, and you would want to marry this chick. Trust me. Gorgeous, blonde, blue-eyed, bikini model at 39 years old. Has she hit the wall? From the mental perspective, perhaps. From a physical perspective, no, not at all. She is most definitely still very, very desirable. So from a physical sense, so that's why I hate having to like sort of clarify this, because I'm going to listen to some tradcon bitch who just got out of fucking Sunday school who's going to go, you guys always talk about the wall. The wall isn't like that. Like, and so now I have to explain this coolly and calmly and whatever else. And then I do, they agree. And then 3 months later, the same bitch is going, you guys talk about the wall. God, cannot win. Part one, I remember my local high school doing a fundraiser for breast cancer a few months ago and making all the players wear some pink jersey or shirt. Yeah, that was October? Yes. Yep. Part two, I asked one of the cheerleaders, part two, you could just give me like $20 and you would have to do it. You could just put as many characters as you want. I asked one of the cheerleaders when they were doing a fundraiser for prostate cancer and having everyone wear blue. She gave me a disgusted look and said, ew, why would we do that? Okay. Do you feel better now? Part three, dude, seriously, like a $20 super chat would have saved you all of this bullshit. Wouldn't the red pill at least help women understand these contradictions? It would, except for that's not how the red pill helps women. Because you're expecting women to be rational. Well, thank you for giving me that segue, rational redneck. And let me run this real quick. Track-on lady on Tim Pool had no rebuttal to Myron. Yeah, of course not. Of course not. Not on the show. Not on the show she did. And she probably did when it came, later on Twitter or whatever other social media she happens to subscribe to. Yeah, I love that. Hey, she was speechless. And trust me, there's a clip out there somewhere that says Myron schooled this bitch and she was speechless or instantly regrets it. If you put instantly regret on any title of any video, people are like, whoo, what? Look, I gotta see this. You're so fucking like lemmings, man, just running over the edge of the cliff. What? Yeah. Yeah, the whole thing. So people have asked me this before, like, why don't you write a rational female, Rollo? I've written essays specifically for women. Not many, but a few. Simply because people keep thinking, oh, Rollo doesn't do anything for women. What I do for men is for women. That's the whole point. And the problem, like, people keep asking me, Rollo, do you think women are red pilled? I go, most of them are. It's getting them to admit it and to talk about it is the trick, right? And they just because it's not in women's best interests to acknowledge that, right? It's better for certain things to be kept secret, right? Like one of my constant jokes is, and this was a real experience like one of my readers had, is that he had The Rational Male. He had my book available on Amazon. Please go get it now. And he was reading my book, and his girlfriend came in the room, and while he was reading it, and she looked at the cover of it and the title, and she goes, rational male. Give me that. You know, she grabs it and she reads it. It takes like 3 days to read it, and then comes back and like throws it at him. She goes, everything in that book is 100% true. She says, and you shouldn't know any of it. And that's the whole point. Is the thing about the red pill working for women is that women have a really tough time actually having those conversations with guys. So I've had guys ask me like, Rollo, should I tell my girlfriend, my wife, whatever, that I watch your stuff? Should I discuss red pill topics with my wife, my girlfriend, et cetera, et cetera? And my answer is this: like, if you're married and you want to have those conversations, just understand it's not going to get you laid. Because what's going to happen is at some point along the way, that woman is going to go, oh, so you're using this technique. Oh, Rollo said use a muse. Is this a muse mastery? Are you using mastery on me right now? Like, they'll be like, if they know, like, you're basically explaining the game to women. And as I said before, women don't want to have the game explained to them. They want to play the game with a superior player. That's what they want. They want you to be able to play with them and play with them. And so that's one of the big tricks. Is like people ask me this before, like, Rollo, how do you have a marriage with your wife? Doesn't she read your stuff and doesn't she know all your shit and all your tricks? Like, not all of them. Not all of them. Yeah, that's a good magician never explains all of his tricks, or never explains his tricks, right? And I have really good conversations with my wife. Don't get me wrong. She loves watching the shows. She's probably watching the show right now. She has read my first book and part of the second book, and then parts of the ones I pointed out to her of the fifth book of the Player's Handbook. At least as far as I know. She might have read some more since then, but like the last time we had a conversation, it was about actually the Player's Handbook. So people have asked me that before, like, Rollo, why, how do you keep things secret? How do you, like, doesn't she know all your tricks? I'm like, no, as I said before, but see, that's the thing is, I'm a very good player of the game. She likes to play the game with me, right? She likes the game. She loves the back and forth between the two of us, and it works out pretty good, right? And so I was talking about this, and people ask me all the time, like what's your relationship like with your wife when you go to Babes in Toyland, which I brought her to Babes in Toyland once, when you do these shows all the time? Because I will tell you this right now, we had a really great show last Thursday on Access Vegas, and we had a really good panel of chicks, and I would say, damn near all of them were hot as fuck, right? People will fight me on the China Barbie girl, probably a little bit, but she was cute, man. She had like this really great smile and everything. She was funny. She didn't speak hardly any English, but it was great. So then what happens is, like, if I put a clip of that out, or I put for instance, if I go to Tao nightclub at the Venetian for the costume party there, and I post pictures of me like shirtless as Ken from the event. I know we're getting a little washed out. If I post pictures of me, I can tell you right now, of the few hundred of people who will comment on it or whatever, there'll be like a handful of, like, maybe half a dozen, like six people will chime in and go, I'd like to know what his wife has to say about all this. I'm like, do you think she does not know what I do? Really? Would you here? I'll give you the number. I'll give you your number. You can rat me out. Would you like me to? We go get her on the line right now, and you can tell her. You could tell on me. And so I think people don't understand, like, the dynamic between, and this is more back to the point being made, the dynamic between my wife and I. And I really think that if I was able to teach guys who are married or in a relationship about this sort of aspect of my life and my relationship. I'm at a point right now. I've been married for 28 years, and my wife and I love talking about the girls on the show. And like when I'm making the thumbnail and I go, "Oh, hey, we got a new one," she's like, "Let me see." Let me see. And it's usually, and if it's one of Mike's girls, she's like stacked. She's all like, he has a certain personality type that he likes. And she's always stacked. And he goes, so that's our joke, oh, she has the Sartain personality. But that's just part of our relationship right now. And she takes care of me sexually, she takes care of me just sort of like just on a day-to-day thing, logistically, I guess, for lack of a better term. But we're all the pretentious bullshit that would probably be a big point of contention for like that redhead guy for that ginger dude who was like a marriage counselor. Like, if my lifestyle would be appalling to that guy. And I'm like, no, it works though. I've been with my wife for this long. We're very cool with each other. She knows I'm not fucking around on her. She knows I'm not, like, that's the other question, by the way.
Yeah.
People go, I don't know how he stays faithful. Because my wife like rocks me 10 ways to Tuesday before I go out and do these events. That's why. And I think people think that she was, that blonde girl was definitely fucking hot as fuck. Yeah, Lolo. Yeah. The Lolo stole the show on Thursday for sure. She was good. We had 2 Asian girls on. We had China Barbie and we had Stephanie Fry. Stephanie is actually she's Chinese and she's Mexican. She's like mixed. She actually looked a little on the thick side for me. Thigh gap is everything for me, right? But she was very, very smart, very, very hot. Yeah, her name was Lolo Lauren, I think is what her name was. That's the blonde you guys are talking about. She's definitely a smoke show. Mike really likes her too. And then of course I had Zoe on my side, who was just like, she was just brutal, man. Everything was like, I don't care how ugly you are. $5 million. That's all she cared about. And she was just 100% up on top. And this is actually a good little segue into something I wanted to talk about. Is we had one video that we reacted to on the show, and on the video it was this guy, and I might still have it. I'll see if I can dig it up. But it was this guy who was, maybe I do have it, who created a fake profile. And this happens all the time. This is nothing new really, but is it AV videos? Is that it? Yeah, here we go. 800 matches. Here, I'll just play it for you. This was the video.
How attractive do you have to be for people not to care if you've done horrible things? This person created a dating profile and said, I have a criminal record for blanking a woman. But we all have a past. For reference, this is the photo the gentleman used, so model tier, high PSL. The original post alleges he got 800 matches in 48 hours. Now, I haven't used these apps in over 4 years, but obviously there's a limited amount of swipes people have, at least that's how I understand it. Here they're even messaging him first. And to go a step further, I believe these gold hearts mean they super liked you. 13th of September 2024, so literally this last week. Willing to make an exception for blue eyes, question mark? They match. Seems like a yes. Exceptions can be made. Good. I must admit, I don't shower. I don't shower. You must be joking. I like my natural musk. I'm sure you will. You do look like you'd smell nice, so I'll take your word for it. I said a month ago that you can do anything if you're attractive. People will give you more forgiveness and more opportunities, and there are so many examples of this. If you're really beautiful, you can stink like shit, and you can commit crimes, and people don't care.
So that was the video that we responded to, and I kind of wanted to like follow up on that because I didn't get enough time to really talk about that. But that was like one of a couple of videos we talked about, and I thought it was interesting because Mike was the one who wanted me to put that in the stack of our respond to our reaction videos, right? And if you know anything about Mike and MOA, he's not saying that looks aren't important. Looks are important. I think people think that he downplays looks. I don't think he does. But if there's a priority, I think he prioritizes status and what I would call prestige, but he calls status above looks. And that it's the reason why a woman fucks you is because of status. And I don't think so. I think that if depending on how good looking you are, really, really ridiculously good looking that you are, being good looking covers a multitude of sins. Now, if you look at this dude, hold on a second, let me see.
How attractive do you have to be for people not to?
There he is. Okay, so let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger. Like that dude, the one on the bottom, obviously. That's the dude, okay? That's how good looking you have to be to like be a serial killer. That's how good looking you have to, and 800 women will still want to get with you. And by the way, when he was talking about the gold stars on there and everything else, yeah, that's true. It's like it's a super like.
It's
or something?
super like,
yeah. And what that is that's women reaching out to him to like initiate something. So when I talk about like the 80-20-4.5% rule, this dude, that guy in the picture anyways, is definitely representative of the 4.5%. I always joke, it's the Justin Wallers of the world, right? Justin Waller gets laid in spite of himself. All right. And now I'm going to explain something to you. I have a picture of this and I don't know if he wants me to put it up, so I won't, but I'm just going to tell you about this. It was let's see, it would have been like sort of like, I think the summer. Yeah. May, I think, of 2022. And we had just gone to, we were in Texas and I was doing a speech at the Collective, which is George Gammon's thing. And we were done and we were going to head out to Miami right after that. And so it was me and Tom, who was his PA, and Justin, and we're sitting there in the Mexican restaurant and we're just having a good time talking. And this chick walks by, and she was a pretty hot chick too, walks by us, has this folded piece of paper. And what it is, it's like a check, like a check thing. It was folded. And then when you open the check up, it said something like Ashley and then had a phone number on it. And I'm like, did that just happen? And it puts it right in front of, I think it might have a room number too. Right in front of Justin. And I have the picture because he holds it up and I took a shot of it really quick. Yeah. I swear to God, there is evidence of this. Okay. And so he has this, it's this chick. And I'm like, did what I think just happen? Right. So again, if it was just status, then this random chick would not be just like, oh, I have to know if he makes a lot of money. Is he a steel construction guy? Is he, this chick does not care what he does for a living. Doesn't care if he's married. Doesn't care if he's got kids. Doesn't care if he's got like herpes. Doesn't care if he's got, whatever. Here it is. That's it. I'll take my chances. Like that seems like a very high risk endeavor. Yes, it is. Because if you are that high about, that's the high when we're talking about high value. And I listened to Sadia Khan talk about, the kind of girl that you get or whatever is a reflection of your high value. No, the chick that comes and puts the fucking number right there on the fucking restaurant table and walks off, in the hopes that you're going to call her back, whatever. That's high value. That's the apex level of high value. No questions asked. Fuck me and fuck me now. That's high value. And most guys, including myself, by the way, I'm not saying I'm an exception to this, okay? Most guys will never know that level of attraction and that level of just sheer animal arousal, right? And that's why a guy like this can get 800 matches. That's why this guy gets super likes. I didn't even know super likes existed until then. So when we're talking about like the 80-20-4.5% rule, you have to remember that it's not about status. It's not about prestige. Although, I mean, maybe the way he was dressed sort of implies those things. So you could certainly imply the cues of high value. No problem. If you're dressed in a certain way, or you've got certain fashionable clothes on, you got certain brands on, things like that. You got your shoes or whatever they are. I mean, there are obvious cues of what's called conspicuous consumption, right? So if you've got a Rolex on, okay, that does imply status. That does imply prestige, right? But this is Justin Waller, okay? So and as I've said before, that being good looking, really, really ridiculously good looking, being in good shape, having a good physique, is its own form of status. So if you're going to say, well, his status is his physique, his status is his physical presence, yeah, okay, you might have a case right there. But in that case, like I was just watching this video that Mike did with his Osmo, his DJ. I got one too, and he was talking about how status is, like, people were saying status is fake. You're teaching these guys to generate fake status, and then so like Mike's like, all status is fake. Like if that's the case, right? Like it's not based on anything. All status is a value call. It's a value prediction is what it is. It's a predictive framework is what it is, but it's a value call, right? But the one place I would, I don't know if I would disagree with Mike, because I think he's right, but the only place I would want to sort of add, I think is more incomplete, is the importance that looks plays with respect to status. So the reason why I said that is because when we reacted to that video on Access Vegas with the girls were like, yeah, I would do it too. You know,
Yeah.
like they're all agreeing with everything else. Like if the guy looked that good, it wouldn't matter if he showered. It wouldn't matter if, in fact, they're like, I'm kind of into the natural funk. You know, they'll make up reasons as to why they would still fuck the guy, even if he didn't brush his teeth, right? Mm-hmm. And so the thing is like when you are when you're considering like what is attractive, what is arousing, I think we still need to sort of. I know we have to make things super simple for guys, but like we have to kind of like make distinctions between attractiveness and arousal, right? Prestige, status is an attraction cue for sure. Is it an arousal cue? Do women fuck guys because of their status? I'm sure it probably happens, but women would prefer to, like, but clearly the opposite can happen as well. So if you've got a guy who is that good looking, has a criminal background, is unshowered or whatever, and women will still fuck him, it's clearly not about status, right? It's clearly about this sort of visceral animal lust arousal factor that is high enough to prompt that response in women. So when we're talking about stuff like that, and so the reason I'm getting into this is because later on in the show, there were instances where we were talking about making a guy wait for sex. A guy who, like, one of the videos we responded to was this one guy who had waited over a year to have sex, and the woman was clearly making him wait to have sex. And I went around the table and asked all the girls, I said, how long have you made a guy wait for sex? They go, wait? They don't make any of them wait. Because if she wants to have sex with you, she's going to have sex with you. They don't honestly, I think very highly attractive women who enjoy sex or want to have sex, like, they're not going to make a guy wait. Yep. Because they're not going to get with the guy who would wait in the first place. So is that an attraction thing, or is that a status cue? Right. What'd you say? Try buying a super chat sometime. The character limits don't work that way. Well, they do. If you buy $20 worth, you get like more characters, right? I mean,
I guess it just depends on spacing.
Yeah. Would you recommend the Democrat Party sit down and have a discussion with you and learn how they lost the male vote? They would never do it, but would I recommend it? Well, yes, I would, especially for my fees. The election revealed a lot of problems with this country and the liberals. Okay, so I agree, Uncle Luke. I would love to. The thing is this: is I've had sit down talks with guys like Dr. Richard Reeves. In fact, he was the reason he was on the Dr. Phil show with me that one time is because I suggested to the producers that they have him on there. I wanted to have more of a conversation about some more like substantive stuff on that show, which was stupid because it's Dr. Phil and they just care about entertainment value, right? So Michael Sartain and myself invited Dr. Richard Reeves to come to Vegas, and he did. He accepted our invite. We had a very civil, really great, I thought it was a fantastic episode in the show, and I want him to come back, especially now that Trump's in office, and not to gloat or anything, but like just to sort of like kind of gauge where his mind is at, because I think when you look at guys like Scott Galloway, honestly, Scott Galloway, I think is far more lost than
than Dr. Richard Reeves. And I think Dr. Richard Reeves understands the problems and he diagnoses the problems pretty accurately. It's just his prescriptions and his cures for them are so rooted in this liberal, wokesy, egalitarian, he still seems to think this, that to empower men and to bring men back up to sort of parity with women, that it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. We can do that without disadvantaging women. Where the problem is the reason why we got women to the point where they're at right now is because we disadvantaged men, is exactly the reason. In fact, that was a tenet of the militant feminism of the 1970s, the early 70s, was to achieve equality means necessarily that you have to disadvantage men so you can get equality for women. It was part of Betty Friedan and Gloria Steinem's charter. We have to disadvantage men so that women can become more equal. Well, now they're far more equal than men are, right? I mean, we're at the point right now where it's become even unignorable to the left that men's problems are going to become serious issues if something is not addressed. That's why Dr. Richard Reeves is in the position he's in right now for the Council on Boys and Men for the government. I don't even know what the hell the title is, right? But again, it's the right diagnosis. It's the right like he understands the problem, but he just doesn't know the prescription. And the prescription is this: the left will never solve the problems of men and women until they can accept the fact that men and women are fundamentally different. That they are physically, biologically, evolutionarily, neurologically, down to the fucking cellular level, different than women. And once you've accepted that, then you can go, okay, now we can actually create some sort of functional, I don't say cure, but some sort of program or some way to sort of progress and move on based on the fact that men have different needs than women do. And it's not the reason why they're still banging their heads against the wall. The reason why they lost the election is because they thought that the solution was either to ignore men or to, in some way, repress voices such as my own or Aaron Clary, MTR, all the guys on the freaking on the watch list, right? Was in some way to limit our ideas. Limit the information and the education that we've been giving out faithfully, in my case, for 20 plus years, right? That was their solution. Shut him up. Close him off. Mike was 100% right about this. Is a wokesy mindset and a wokesy policies and wokesy issues and everything else cannot exist unless there is censorship. Because if I can say and provide you with some sort of tangible, rational, cogent argument that completely destroys your argument, the only way your stupid ideology is maintainable is if you shut me up. And that's exactly what they did. That's what they're still continuing to do right now. And trust me, they will do it in the future because their understanding of human nature is fundamentally flawed. And it's time we start waking up to shit like this. And I'm kind of glad you brought this up. When I have talked in the past about like Marxism or communism, I don't get into like politics like this, but I have gotten into the sort of parity between feminism and like what became like socialism or became communism. Socialism seems like a good idea to women because it kind of reflects that communitarianism that comes naturally to them. As I said before, women organized society in the round. It seems like everybody getting equal seems like a great idea for women who are, for all intents and purposes, the victim class sex, or at least the more insecure sex. Women are always looking for security. They want long-term security. They want, if the world is a very chaotic and dangerous world, and they need men to ensure their rights with violence. They need men to ensure their security and their safety and the safety of their offspring as well. They can only rely on men. And the thing is, Mike's brought this up before, and I kind of feel like I kind of need to correct Mike a little bit on this. And he's not the only one to bring this up. I think I've heard even Destiny talk about this. We don't need strong men anymore. Women shouldn't be like in an egalitarian world that is built upon the dictates of social constructionism. We don't need strong men anymore. You don't need Tren, you don't need fucking T-Pro, you don't need TRT, you don't need any of this stuff, because now we all have Glocks. Yeah. We can kill the saber-toothed tiger, boom, gone. Okay, that's all we needed, right? So women should no longer be attracted to muscle-bound dudes or guys who look like a younger Brad Pitt. We no longer need guys like Andrew Tate. We no longer need guys like Justin Waller, although women still can't help the compulsion of wanting to put their number on the fucking restaurant table and wanting to fuck him. That's, what's the difference there? Shouldn't that woman be using her rational cognitive brain and think, well, you know what? He's very muscle bound, but we don't need muscles anymore. We have shotguns now. Women aren't thinking this, because that is fucking social constructionism. That is expecting women to to police their innermost fucking, arousal cues for guys like that. Well, she shouldn't. That's irrational. We have weapons now. Because the only reason in our ancestral past that women were attracted to guys with lots of muscles was because they could kill the saber-toothed tiger, or they could keep the invading tribes out, or they could go and use that muscularity to go kill the woolly mammoth or the caribou or whatever and bring the meat back to the tribe. We don't need that anymore. We have Burrito Supremes at Taco Bell right now, and we have shotguns, and we have automatic weapons, and we've got missiles, and we got everything else. So why would we need any of that? It's okay, Mr. Modern dude. You can just be some skinny weesh dude, and she should instinctively still want to fuck you, right? Because it's not about what's outside, it's what's on the inside. No, it's not. And anybody saying that, I can point this out to you by the fact that the one dude who in that last video gets 800 matches and God knows how many gold super matches as a result of that, based on one criteria. how good looking he is. Well, that's illogical. They shouldn't want that guy because we have guns. No, they want to get one. They want to fuck that guy because he's good looking, because he's muscular, because he's got the symmetrical face. He's got the jawline going. He's not a chin cell. Yes, I mean, sure. By the way, I've heard this so many times, and I'm going to pick on Destiny a little bit here because Destiny will talk about this stuff too. Well, why women should be crazy attracted to a guy like Destiny, right? I mean, no body. Was it Wes Watson? Looks like a garbage bag. Yes, they should be lining up around the block. Apparently, they were, right? To fuck Destiny. As long as you have autism, I guess you're right. Or you're crazy in BPD, like Lauren Southern. But then again, Lauren Southern did fuck Andrew Tate, has fucked Tommy Robinson, has fucked apparently Paul Joseph Watson. When those two aren't the best example, but yeah. So the idea that women will somehow police their evolutionary firmware to want to fuck muscular guys is like the Chippendales. Now, hell, half of the girls on the show were saying, "Hey, Chippendales is right over there." Yeah, because they want to fuck a good-looking dude, and it's that they don't think it's not like they're going, we have shotguns now. Do I really need a muscular guy? Yes, with a 12-inch cock too. Yes, that's what they want. So sorry, I don't mean to be too flippant with your question there, Uncle Luke, but the problem that liberals are always going to have is, first of all, it's based on female psychology, I should say. Democratic, liberal, progressive, political, the way that political democratic progressives would organize society is identical to the way that women would organize society. In a communitarian thing, everybody gets it. We're going to redistribute your wealth. We're open borders, because wouldn't it be great if we all could just get along and just open? We wouldn't need borders anymore. We wouldn't have to have a border patrol. We just let everybody come in, and we can all just be who cares about national identity? Who cares about national culture? Who cares? If you look at Poland right now, they care about it. Trust me. But apparently, because we're the United States, we're not allowed to do that, right? Or if it's in Western Europe, you're not allowed to do that. And really, a lot of those policies stem from collectivism, stem from communitarianism, which is a female way of organizing society. Women tend to be socialists. They tend to be communists, for lack of a better term. I'm not saying that they're actually communists. I'm just saying that that's the mentality that leads to that, for sure. Because there's strength in numbers. They want women prioritize security over personal freedom. They will sacrifice personal freedom if that means that they can have some sort of security. And of course, I forget was it Benjamin Franklin who said, if people who would sacrifice personal freedom for security deserve neither. And so women, you deserve neither of those. But anyways, I would love to talk to Richard Reeves. I would love to talk to the progressive wokesies, but if I thought that they would actually have a rational, reasonable conversation about stuff like this. But the problem is when you get into those conversations, they're starting from a female emotional center and not a masculine rational center, empirical center. And that's why I have characterized it as such, is that what we're looking at right now when it comes to politics is men versus women. All politics are gender politics right now. And how is that expressed? It's expressed in the conflict between emotionalism versus empiricism. Men tend to be more empirical. Women tend to be more emotional. In fact, almost entirely emotional. Women tend to lead with emotion. Men, given their natural instincts, according to their natural innate evolutionary firmware, lead with reason and rationality. And then once they have solved the problem, then they sort out how they felt about that problem. Women, on the other hand, lead with emotion and then use reason to solve the problem. How do I feel about this? Oh no. Or it doesn't have to be oh no. It could be they could be overjoyed. It could still be happiness, right? I mean, however the emotion plays out, right? For men, it's like, how do I solve the problem? How do we rationally, reasonably, empirically solve this problem? Then, how did I feel about the problem? Women is, how do I feel about the problem? And now from that point, I'm going to see how okay, got my emotions in check. Now we're going to go and find out how we're going to solve the problem. Ladies, what should we do? And then, of course, they take a consensus. And by that time, guys already have it figured out. So, whenever some of my wife's girlfriends come by, she makes a larger dinner or donuts and brownies appear the next day. The extra scoop of rice is real. You know the extra scoop of rice is, right? Okay. Yes, it is real. Somebody, that was actually the last video we responded to on Access Vegas. There's this chick who's, maybe I still have it. Let me go get it. This was pretty funny. I have it right here. Is it this one? Number 17? I think, no, that's not it. It's, okay, here it is. This is funny as hell. This is the last one we responded to. She's giving her like brownie bites. By the way, my wife buys those brownie bites too.
She's trying.
Yeah, sorry, I had to silence that. I don't want to get a copyright strike for Leonard Skinner to all bands. That's the extra scoop of rice. So would you like me to explain? I'll be happy to. The extra scoop of rice is a phenomenon that happens between couples, and usually it's when the woman is not feeling as attractive. Could be that she's in a particular menstrual stage, but when that woman is with a guy and the guy is clearly a step above her in sexual market value, that's when she's like, gives you the extra scoop of rice. Oh, you're too skinny. You have more rice.
Let me feed you.
Let me feed you. Oh, my mother taught me this recipe. And that's when suddenly she takes up cooking. She's never cooked for you in her life, and now suddenly she starts cooking. Like, you come home and there's Taco Bell waiting for you. That's the extra scoop of rice to fatten you up, to make you less attractive to other women so that she can keep you like in the relationship, right? And women only really do that when they're feeling sort of insecure and the fact that he's better looking than I am, and so therefore I got to fatten him up to get him down to where I'm at. Yep. It's funny because it's true. All right. Can you explain why you can't listen to Journey's Faithfully when it seems like the perfect song for you and your wife? I think I know the answer. Okay, well, I do like Journey, by the way. Neil Schon is one of my inspirations as far as guitar playing is concerned. But up till the Escape album, everything after that is garbage. No, the reason why I say that Journey, but you can't listen to 80s power ballads anymore is because they're just so so blue pill, and it's, I shouldn't even point out like 80s power ballads. It's like if you watch an episode of Friends,
Yeah.
oh my God. It's like if you watch that from a red pill perspective, like I used to love watching Friends. I watched them when they first came out.
Yeah, it makes
Like
it
I watched it
unwatchable.
when the series, like in the mid 90s, I watched it when it was a thing. Or Frasier,
Oh my
or trying to think, maybe to a lesser degree Seinfeld. Seinfeld was a comedy though. They would laugh at themselves. But
Everybody Loves Raymond.
yeah, that's another one. If you look at some of those, even Friends is just a horror show. It's the easiest one to knock. Because you have, if you look at the male archetypes in there, you have Joey, who's the himbo, right?
Yeah.
He's Justin Waller, right? He's the alpha male. He's the alpha dude. Then you've got Ross. Ross is the freaking doormat beta male. I'll do anything for you, Rachel. Like that guy. I mean, and what's funny is only in the show does that relationship work.
Yep.
Out on the real world, Rachel never fucks Ross. Are you kidding? Never. And then you got Chandler, and Chandler's the gamma male, and Chandler's just like trying to figure shit out. He's somewhere in between, like Ross and Joey, and he's just like, and he gets with. I mean, don't get me wrong, like Courtney Cox is a piece of ass back then. He gets with Monica, right? And they kind of have this sort of like this normal relation, quote unquote, normal relationship for the time, but they're both kind of like Monica's kind of a lovable ditz, don't get me wrong. But they're both trying to figure out what's going on with their friends. Like Phoebe is like just a ditz. She's like completely like, star child, hippie thing. And then you got Rachel, Jennifer Aniston, still a hot piece of ass, will never find love and will never have children. But she, in the show, she's like sort of this strong, independent woman, and she's still trying to figure things out for herself. And remember, this is by the way, Jennifer Aniston and me, same age. So she's doing this. She's doing these shows when we're both the same age, right? So she would have been like 26 or 27 when there's at the height of Friends. But they all are archetypes. And when you're watching it, you don't go, these are all archetypes. You're not making that connection, right? Because nobody's talking about red pill stuff. Nobody's talking, but you get it on a fundamental level. I think that's what made this series funny, is because Joey's like, hey, how are you doing? Joey gets let. Joey fucks. Joey is the guy that fucks, right? Even in spite of himself, Joey fucks. Ross could never get laid in a fucking brothel, dude. I mean, like Ross does not fuck. And then Chandler is kind of like I said, the gamma male. He's the guy who keeps the Excel spreadsheets and asks the women, why didn't you want to fuck me? Like, how come I'm failing with women? How come Joey wins and Ross loses? And give me the scientific data points, Rachel and Monica and Phoebe. It's funny to see it now. Or God, never watch Mrs. Doubtfire. And the tragic part is it was played by Robin Williams, and like that is if you watch Mrs. Doubtfire in 2024, and you will realize it's a horror movie. It's not a comedy. It is a horror movie. I was at a buddy's with a Chad in college. He was 21. I was 20. Female bartenders he knew would serve me alcohol just to get in good with him. Yeah. You're the beta, I shouldn't say the beta. Tom, you're the Bravo, and I think Fox Day is now making a distinction between beta males and Bravos. You're the guy. You're the sidekick. You're the guy who's like you're the wingman. You're like Top Gun. Mm-hmm. Your friend's Maverick, and you're Goose. You still get pussy. Don't get me wrong, but you get Maverick's leftovers. Is what you're getting. And so like, hey, it's a benefit. You get to drink for free, I guess. So you get to drink a little bit. Because they want to know what your buddy's really like and if they can fuck them. Yeah. Isn't it interesting that again, the good looks of that guy is what dictates that woman's intent to you, like her impetus towards you as sort of like the Bravo, like the friend, right? That woman would, for anyone else, would not do that with you. But you happen to be friends with a guy that who's really, really ridiculously good looking, and she wants to fuck that guy, right? then she will break her own rules, not only for him, but for you. Like the guy that she wants to get her in good with that guy. That's the level of dedication. Where does this idea of a non-zero sum game from? It comes from Richard. I'm quoting Dr. Richard Reeves about the zero sum game, because he thinks, like we had this conversation on when we were interviewing him at Sticky Paws. He thinks that there's a way to, like, everybody gets to win. And the problem is, and I think he's now kind of figuring this out, is that it is a zero sum game. And it's not so much a zero sum game because assholes on the red pill side, like Rollo Tomasi, are saying so. It's because that when he tries to make appeals to his own people at the Brookings Institute from a liberal, progressive, wokesy, leftist ideology, they're the ones that make it a zero sum game, not me. I mean, I'll point out that it is. And I think I make a pretty rational, reasonable case for it. But he's not bashing his head against my wall. He's bashing his head against his own people's wall, because they want to make it such. Because he was, I know what it was. He was responding to an article in the Atlantic, a very leftist, liberal leaning, progressive magazine, right? And there was an article in there about self-deletion, let's just say. And it was about the spike in self-deletion rates. Now, as you know, as I've repeated a million times, and as Dr. Richard Reeves has pointed out many times, is that the rate of self-deletion in men, and in this case it was about young men, is 4 times as high as women. Now, what do they say? Well, women try it. Women do it more often. They attempt it more often. Oh, well, great. That's awesome. You fail at that too, right? But that's not the joke. I love it when people always try to make those comparisons. They got to make it about the chick. Like, it's like men off themselves 4 times the rate of women. Women most affected. Well, they try it more than men, so so women are actually in better, worse shape than guys, because why are they trying it so much, right? Attention, women, and would you like me to give you the really bad, evil Rollo Tomasi version of this? Is that when men off themselves, it's a pragmatic decision. It's not an emotional one. And people always think that, like, self-deletion is always rooted in emotion, and it, like, the act of it probably is, but the reason and the sort of the determining whether to do so or not for men and women is entirely different. That's why women attempt it more than men, because it's an emotional cry. It's a cry for attention. It's a want for people to pay attention to me. I need attention so bad, I'm going to take a bunch of sleeping pills, right? And that's why when men off themselves, it's usually with a firearm, or it's with a rope, or it's something that is there's no margin for error whatsoever. Either you miss or you don't, right? Because men make a pragmatic decision, and that pragmatic decision is, I can either rebuild myself or I can delete myself. And tragically, too many guys delete themselves, which is why I started Reignite. Please join my program. It's to help men get back from being zeroed out in various ways, shapes, and forms. That's actually was the main reason I started Reignite, was to help guys from being zeroed out. But again, it's a pragmatic choice. And that's why men succeed at it way more than women do. And women attempt it more because it's an emotional appeal for women. For men, it's a pragmatic decision. And if you would like to have a debate with me over that, I would be happy to entertain anybody about that. But again, something I would bring up with Dr. Richard Reeves, but he's reading this article in The Atlantic. And if you just were reading this one article from, this is his words, by the way. I was reading his Substack about it. His words, not mine. If you were reading this article, you would think that there is an epidemic of female self-deletion, and nobody's talking about anything about male self-deletion, when in fact it is a much higher incidence of it from men. And he wrote this op-ed piece to sort of inform, talk to the people at the Atlantic, and I'm going, Rich, ask them why. because this is something like we've been talking about in the red, me personally anyways, really since about 2014, 2013. The question isn't that they're doing it. The question is why? Why do they feel the need to do that? Because if even Dr. Richard Reeves, it's unignorable to even leftists what's going on. And it's their side that is doing the repression, that's doing the data repression. It's their side that doesn't want you to know that it's actually young men who are suffering from this at far greater rates. And I think at some point along the way, Richard Reeves is going to get red pilled. I hope so. I don't know what it's going to be, sort of the catalyst that finally sort of breaks him, but I think he's going to start to understand. And I like Rich, but I think he's going to at some point understand that it's because of that ideology. It's because of that leftist progressivist stonewalling, a deliberate stonewalling of data points that are, and this is just self-deletion. There's so many other issues we could be talking about, right? He wants to talk about, how do we get more men into teaching positions? Well, there's two ways you can do that. You can offer them more money or more pussy. Those are the two ways that you get men into the teaching professions. Well, we need to make it more noble. It's not getting any more noble than it is. Like, men don't get into teaching for prestige. If they did, they'd be getting pussy. If it was status, you go, hey, if you could go to a strip club and you go, hey, I'm a grammar school teacher. And women will, oh, really? And they start playing. Like, if they start getting all turned on by that, if that happened, guys would fucking line up to go get an education degree. Are you fucking kidding me? But it's not going to happen because they're very low status, low prestige, high work, high stress, low wage work. So, like, why would a guy want to get into it? Of course, it's a female-dominated field because they're the only ones who it's appealing to from financial perspectives and from, like, they're not too worried about prestige because women understand that a hot guy is going to fuck a teacher as much as the sandwich artist as long as she's hot. Those are the criteria. And until, like I said before, until leftists and really even, by the way, also conservatives, tradcons are just as fucking ignorant about this. But until they are willing to accept the evolutionary underpinnings of the nature of men and women, both ideologies fail fucking miserably. Equality of outcome would never work because you will never have equal effort. Why can't women understand that one simple concept? Because they're interested in security and long-term security. Whatever provides them with that is what they're going to get behind. Okay. I should also throw this, since you brought this up, Thomas, one of the things I think that, and I need to have this conversation with Mike, we need to emphasize more strongly and more often, we need to emphasize the difference between proximate outcome and ultimate outcome. Because I was listening to Mike talk about like status and how, women only want to fuck you for status. No, they want to fuck you because you look like the guy that was in that last video, right? That they will bend over, they will break so many fucking rules. Remember I said this, like, women will break rules for alphas and they will make more rules for beta males. It was interesting to watch the one video of the guy with the 800 matches and everything. And then there was the other video where the guy who was waiting for over a year to fuck this one chick because that was the arrangement that they had going on or whatever it is. And I'm looking at this and I said, those are kind of two opposite sides of the female sexuality, female nature coin. The guy that, like, this one girl was going to be with this guy and make all these rules for him because in the back of her head or her hindbrain, her lizard brain says, there's no way in hell I want to fuck this guy. He is a guy who it doesn't fuck. And so she's making rules for him. Well, no pussy for you for a year. I have to get to know you. I have to do this. I have to do that. Blah, blah. Meanwhile, she's probably one of the 800 chicks who does a super like for the guy who doesn't wash and doesn't brush his fucking teeth and has a criminal background, but she still wants to fuck that guy. That's a fucking lesson. That's a lesson that men definitely need to know, but women need to know as well. And it's really a lesson in proximate versus ultimate outcomes. So when women say, well, if you ask them, well, why would you want to fuck a guy with a criminal background? Why would it, for men? Because men lead with logic and we lead with rationality and we lead with empiricism. And we say, why would you want to get with a guy who has a criminal background? Why would you want to get with this guy who says he literally doesn't shower? You want to get with a guy, because that's the first thing women will say. Oh, I need a guy who smells good and knows how to dress and everything else. Unless he looks like that. And then then that's a rule that you will break to fuck that guy, that kind of guy anyways. And so if that's the nature, if that's female nature, if you are good looking enough that women will take those risks, like you will listen to like a guy like Prometheus or whatever that guy, the ginger dude who wanted to be a marriage counselor with a fucking scraggly beard, that guy from the videos, that guy thinks that women make their mating decisions according to male logic. They don't. If men were better men, then women would behave. No, they wouldn't, because they're not operating on ultimate outcomes. They're operating on proximate outcomes. Proximate outcome is this. I'm going to take this piece of paper. I'm going to write my name, Ashley, and I'm going to put my phone number and my room number. I'm going to fold it and I'm going to give it to Justin Waller as I'm walking out the restroom door. That's fucking proximate outcome. The hopeful proximate outcome is I'm going to fuck this guy because it seems like it's going to feel really good if I fuck this guy. That's not, I wonder if this guy would be a great father for my children. I wonder if this guy would be, a good provider and provide security and protection and provisioning and parental investment. That doesn't even enter the fucking equation at that time. So when I listen to these guys talking about, oh, well, a woman is seeking these qualities in a man, right? I got to see if I can find this one. Got this Scott Galloway video here. This is actually a pretty good time to throw this one in here. No, that wasn't it. It was, where did it go? What was it? I'm sorry, maybe I don't have it. But it was Scott Galloway. Oh, wait, maybe it's in the other one. Scott Galloway was talking about like how it's the three things. It comes down to three things that women are looking for in a man. And I'm thinking to myself, money, muscles, and game. No, it's kindness and intelligence. No, Scott, they're looking for a hot guy in the foam cannon party on spring break. She was drunk, he was cute, and one thing led to another. That's all of that bullshit. All of the things we say, what are you really looking for in a woman or in a man? Kindness, intelligence, generosity. Those are things that are attractive to women in the long term, but those are not the things that women are looking for when they're putting a fucking number on a guy's table and walking down, or they're giving super likes to. Women break rules for alphas and they make more rules for beta males, and the guys who are trying to sort of like logically parse this shit out are essentially it's an effort and cope is what it is, because they're trying to figure out why chicks won't fuck them. They're like fucking Chandler, right? They're making fucking Excel spreadsheets as to figure out why it is that she said no this many times. And so then they think, oh, well, it must be kindness. It must be this. It must be that. No, I'll tell you what it is. You want the top three? It's good looks. It is game, status, prestige, and then it's money after. And those are money, muscles, game in that order. That's how it works. After that, anything else is gravy after that. Get those three things out of the way, and then you're fucking golden. Simple as that. And of those, be good looking. Get to the gym, lose weight. And that's always I realize that's what we always say. Just lift, bro. That's not like advice that we're just doing to be flippant and to just dismiss you. It's because it's true. And a lot of guys don't, I don't know. I'm fat. I'm ugly. My face is well. I'm physically deformed. Whatever it is. It's like, well, then stop being that way. Find a way. I need to, you're saying that I need to, was it Jester Max? I need to Jester Max. I'm not a dancing monkey. Yes, you are. To her, she is. To the chicks that you want to fuck, that you're stroking off to on fucking Pornhub, to that look like that act like that, those chicks, the girls that you would find in even your chick from the Amish Dutch country in the little the blue and white flower dress, with like no tits and no ass and whatever else. Even that girl, she's still hypergamous. you still have to qualify for her some way. Oh no, Rolo, she'll love me for me. No, she won't. I'm sorry to say. Now I need the evil voice.
Yes, she will never love you. I am the Lord of the Pit, and I decree this to all mankind.
Yes, and on your knees you shall pay homage. Do you believe that virtue and morality is gendered like respect? Gosh, that's more than a $4.99 super chat, my friend. Is it gendered? Yes, I do. I think women are become more concerned about morality and virtue the older they get. Also, it's on a by case basis. I probably have it bookmarked somewhere. There's studies right now about how men tend to focus on what is empirically true, whereas women look for what is morally and virtuously desirable. And honestly, I think it's really sort of a fail-safe for women. Women tend to lean on virtue and tend to lean on morality when they need a convenient fail-safe, when they need a convenient, like nothing cock blocks for women like virtue and morality. Nothing will hold a man at bay like God from a woman. Well, God doesn't want to.
God wants you to have the baby.
Definitely not.
Thank you, Fresh. The defense rests its case, Your Honor. That's it right there, man.
God wants you to have the baby.
Yeah, see, that's that. I don't know how much more simple I can make it for you. Yes. Is it gendered? It's gendered in the sense that it is how it can be made useful for women. Women like this.
God wants you to have the baby.
Like that part right there is an appeal to morality and virtue. And by the way, it works. Man, when Fresh was going through all that shit, they were just, and I don't know if it was like him trying to generate some sort of scandal or whatever. So I can't say one way or the other. But if it wasn't, let's just say it was organic, like just for sake of argument here. Man, they ran his ass up the flagpole for that. And they did so from the position of virtue and morality. And no one hammered him harder than these fake fucking trad femmes that are now coming out as fucking liberal feminists, right? The Isabella Moody's, the Isabella DeLucas, the fucking Ashley St. Clair's, all these chicks who are giving fucking Fresh a ration of shit. All of them, man, the fucking chickens have come home to roost, my friends. All that bullshit. And by the way, the same things. Man, there's nothing like fucking November and December, man. Mm-hmm. For like the manosphere and for this shit, especially after an election cycle, because all this bullshit. Remember, do not forget that because I did. Let's put into perspective here. Not only have I been vindicated of this bullshit with Lauren Southern and Destiny fucking and a relationship being there? I was right about that. Remember, these are the same people who went to like very great, like insane lengths of effort to find ways to forge documents, admission documents for a fucking an ultrasound for a child that may or may not still exist. As far as I know, that's the next question, because now we've established that they have been fucking. There was a relationship there. It was a factor in breaking up Melina and Destiny. I was right. Thank you very fucking much. You can go get in the fucking line to give me your apologies right now. But these are the same people who, like, the question is, why would they do that? Why was that? Why go to those links? Why not just ignore me? It wasn't even me. It was fucking Lauren Southern's ex-husband that was giving me the information. Why not just ignore it? Why throw everybody off the trail? Was it because it was something that he didn't want Melina to be reminded of? Remember, Melina was saying that Lauren was, or to Lex Friedman, that Destiny is attracted to the crazy baby trap types of women. I quote once again. I just work here. I'm just reporting the news. And then let's not forget this. Here's what I did forget. Back in September, August of this election cycle of this year, I'm sure you all remember when I was accused by, Destiny and Not So Erudite that I was a closet racist and bigot, and I had some alt channel or some alternative, some Twitter. Alt Twitter where I was, a Seattle sports fan or something like that. And boy, did they ever hammer that one home. Why do something like that? Why try to run Rollo Tomasi into the ground? Why? Was I getting too close to the fucking truth? What do they say? Like, you take flack or fire when you're over the target. That was definitely over the target. Yeah. And that was as recent as August. So just saying, I must in some way be intimidating. I don't know how, but do I think that virtue and morality is gendered? Yeah, I do. I think we just, in the sense that it's useful to either gender, either sex. Men tend to use morality and virtue when they're trying to appeal to men. It's your masculine duty to do this. You have to. It's your duty to. Actually, here, maybe this is a better way to do it. It's your masculine duty. Oh, here it is. Here you go. This will work.
Men have a masculine duty to serve women, but women don't have a feminine duty to serve men.
I think it has a lot to do with our upbringing and the media and television. You're supposed to do everything for a woman in order to gain her love or trust.
How is that not simping if it doesn't go both ways?
It is. It is simping. It definitely is simping. It doesn't go both ways. That's right. Yeah.
I think it is simping. I think people need to wake up, and I think chivalry needs to die if it's not reciprocated.
How can relationships ever be 50-50 if the man is always the one who's expected to sacrifice himself for the woman and serve her with chivalry?
That is a misleading question because the man isn't always expected to give up everything for the woman. My relationships have always been 50-50 and have been happy.
Sure they have. 50-50. Yes. No one's... Let me just explain something to you right now. There's no such thing as a 50-50 relationship. If you think you have a 50-50 relationship, please be on my show. Let's have a discussion about this. Because
she opens my door real
well. Yeah, exactly. She opens your door for you. Yes. Yes, she like, trust me, in any relationship where you think it's 50-50, it's you fucking making that you're the one that's overextending right there. But then again, that's the thing is, like, you'll want to, most men, when they make appeals to virtue and they make appeals to morality, it's because they're trying to enforce their ideology, or I should say, reaffirm their ideology on other guys. And it's usually a form of intra-sexual competition, meaning I'm more virtuous than he is. And if you were more virtuous than me, then you would be like me, right? And so when men make appeals to virtue, it's usually because they think that that's going to earn them prestige. They think that that's going to earn them status. And that's another thing that Mike got into just recently in the same video is when he has got a great video on status and why status is not fake. It's fake, but it's not fake because status is just like perceived. There's only the only reason you think highly of me is because of the perception I'm giving you right now, right? Remember how much prestige and status we gave Destiny back when he was like schooling me on fucking him and Sneeko were supposedly schooling me on like what's a high value guy, and I fucking went up there, and people still don't remember this, but like when I went on with Myron and Fresh, and I was there with Mike and everything, people go, "Oh, you were there with Mike, so therefore it doesn't count." I'm like, no, you go listen to the 4.5 hour long show that we did, and you tell me who schooled who, because I'll tell you right now, Sneeko like sneak out, was on for all of like maybe 20-30 minutes of that show, and it was gone. He thought going on Aiden Ross was a better idea than going on that, right? Because he knew that the longer he stayed on there, the more chance it was that I was just going to fucking like destroy the kid. And quite honestly, I think Sneeko's like probably the fucking, he's the root of all the things that have gone wrong on that show. Without Sneeko, you don't have Destiny. Without Sneeko, you don't have fucking Fuentes. Without Sneeko, you don't have Zerko. Without Sneeko, you don't have all these. Even I don't know if people remember this. Remember when Sneeko and DJ Academics came on and they basically ran the show, and it was Mike Rashid was on there with Brandon Carter at the same time, and they like those two guys just rolled in there fucking drunk as fuck. People remember that? Yeah, Sneeko once again. Sneeko's been the factor on all of that shit. So, when you look at prestige and you look at status is like I think that Mike was saying, status has momentum, but it doesn't have any mass. Like there's nothing to it. And so if the momentum's not with you, then you lose status and you lose prestige, right? Like Destiny definitely taken a hit to his status in the last probably 2 or 3 months, really ever since the assassination attempt on Trump. That was the beginning of the end for Destiny. And quite honestly, I think Destiny's going to fade into obscurity, and that's going to be something he cannot handle. In fact, I don't wish that on anybody, but fuck, man, like people like that have a real tough time with obscurity. You give him obscurity and he fades into nothing. He really fades into nothing. So
fame's a drug.
Yeah. Yeah. And Vyvanse is a hell of a drug, man. I'll tell you that right now. So, people keep asking, why does he do this all the time when he's talking? I'm like, that's a tweaker.
That's meth right there.
That's what tweakers do. Yes, that's a meth thing. I'm not saying he's on meth, but he's probably on something pretty close to meth, chemically close to meth, yes. Which Vyvanse would definitely be a top contender for that. And I know he's been drug seeking for that kind of stuff for a while. So yeah. Let's go on to Derek here. Derek, thank you for that. See, Derek knows how to give a 1999. A good one. Thank you. If we live in okay. I guess today's question and answer day. Thanks, guys. If we live in gynocentrism, gynocentric social order, why women choose Trump? Let's keep going. Is it due to your theme park theory that women want a thrill ride, yet deep down they want responsible people behind the scenes? It's the roller coaster analogy. Thus, they saw Trump, the responsible guy behind the scenes. Honestly, more women voted for Kamala than Trump. Men were actually the X factor in this last election. Let's just clarify things. But there were women that did vote for Trump. And you have to remember that gynocentrism doesn't know any particular political stripe or ideology, for that matter. I keep telling you guys, the sisterhood uber alles, meaning that it's whatever seems like it is the most, like the solidarity with the sisterhood. Anything that looks like it's the most beneficial for the most amount of women, that's what women will gravitate towards. And if that looks like Trump, then that looks like Trump. I think it was the sewing circle Christians. that's what Andrew Wilson, that's his. I'm not claiming responsibility for that. But Christian culture, trad femmes, they're going to vote for Trump anyways, but that doesn't mean that they're not still part of a gynocentric social order. You can have Trump and have a gynocentric social order. I think a lot of people think some of the most feminist women you will ever know are traditional conservative women. They still tow and carry the water for the strong, independent woman narrative. They just do it from the perspective of they're good, faithful Christians, and they run their own business. That she's the mayor of whatever township it is. And it's if you had nothing but like Republican women on a county commission, a board of commissioners, and they're nothing but good, God-fearing Republican women, they're still just as feminist as any, and they're just as gynocentric as anyone else is. It's just that it's contextualized differently. So that's why I keep telling like, if you really want to affect political change, run for your county commissioner, run for whatever that chair is that's in your particular area or your parish or whatever it is. Run, like, see how hard it is as a guy. Just because if you have a penis and you're trying to run for even just local office, you got your work cut out. You better have some money saved up. And why is it what is it about like the legal professions? Like there's more female judges than there are male judges in a lot of areas anyways. If you look at the stats for the graduation stats for women passing the bar exam, if you look at the ratio of men to women in judgeships, just look at the stats, especially for where you are. Now, I'm not saying it might, maybe I'm wrong, but I keep seeing more and more women getting into legal professions, right? How do women like educate the justice system differently than men would? Well, I'll tell you right now, there are tons of stats on how men get far more harsh sentences and women get lenient sentences for the same fucking crimes. How does that happen? Maybe it's because there's women in the judiciary. Maybe it's because there's women judges that are much more lenient than they are on men. Women judges, and I know these stats exist because I have them in my bookmarks on my Twitter. Female judges tend to give harsher sentences for sex crimes than male judges do. And they do that mostly for men as opposed to women. So if there's a sex crime for instance, you have one of these teachers that's a quote unquote statutory rapist at their whatever their grammar school is, they're going to get off with a slap on the wrist. Whereas if a guy so much as sends what could be deemed an inappropriate text to a girl, he loses his entire career and probably is now a registered sex offender as a result of that. Why is that? Well, could it be because we have more women as judges and more women as attorneys than we do men? Probably, oh, here we go. Thank you. Howdy, Roland. Howdy, class. Howdy. Look, I'm a cowboy. Howdy. In my view, empiricism has historically won out over emotionalism. Yeah, and will continue to do so. War Bride's dynamic is a good example. Do you think the recent election will turn the tide away from wokeism? You should spell it with a Z. It looks more like Nazi. Also, would a mother of sons benefit from reading The Rational Male? Yes, and yes. I hope so. For the first part of that, I'm going to say I hope so. I am, put it this way, I'm cautiously optimistic that the sort of zeitgeist of all this has sort of changed. When we're talking, I hate to even use the terms, but we're talking about transgenderism. I have to say that so the algorithm doesn't pick it up. When we talk about issues like that, and sort of the changes and even just the change in the attitude and the change in the language right now. I've said in the past, if you want to sort of fight wokeism, stop using their language. Stop using the language of emotionalism. Stop pandering to it. Don't refer to your wife as your partner. That's a good step in the right direction, right? Stop agreeing with language that would in some way intimate that you agree with the ideology. Because I think it was George Orwell who said this. I think it was in 1984. Is that if language can corrupt thought, then if thought can corrupt language, then language can corrupt thought. So if you say things often enough, you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes true, right? We know where that came from. But if you repeat the same BS over and over again, and you keep using the same language, even if it's like something as innocuous as partner, right? You're using that language, meaning I agree with this ideology. You're tacitly endorsing that ideology by using that turn of phrase. And I've talked about this on a couple of essays. I've tweeted about this, God knows how many times and how many threads. You have to stop using their language and start using our language. What's our language? The language of empiricism. That's why when people, and maybe things have changed a little bit now, but I'm probably not in Canada, but certainly in the United States, I'll deliberately misgender people just because I refuse to use that language. This is where, by the way, this is where Jordan Peterson sort of fucking screwed the pooch. Okay. Like he was made famous for saying, I'm not going to use your gender pronouns. And he was the Canadian guy who said he wouldn't use your gender pronouns. How dare he? Right. Well, then he marches it back a little bit and he says, no, I didn't say I wouldn't refer to you as how you wanted to be referred. I said that I didn't want to be compelled by law to have to do that. And I'm like, Okay, but you're still endorsing their bullshit by using their language, right? I'm telling you right now, deliberately misgender. Seriously. If that's the case, like you're not actually, because the funny thing is you're not actually misgendering them. You're actually accurate in your assessment. You're a dude. I'm a dude. You're a chick, right? I'm a dude. You're a dude. Even though you want to look like a chick, you're not a chick. You're a dude. And I'm going to refer to you as him and he. That's it. Because that's what you are. And by the way, that's not misgendering. That, from an empirical perspective, that is true. And that's the difference between emotional language and like, oh, play along with me, make me feel, use my language, use my pronouns, use my whatever to make me feel better, to make me understand that you agree with my ideology, that you're playing along with my pathological world. No, I refuse to do that for two reasons. One, it's illogical, irrational, impractical, and it is not pragmatic, and you are full of shit. And I want to get, if I'm going to claim empiricism as my sort of mode of being, right, then I'm not doing you any favors by referring to you and playing along with your bullshit games, right? In fact, by accurately gendering you, I'm helping you. I'm helping you get past this bullshit and get past your own pathology that you expect everyone else to play along with. As I've said before, pathological personalities hate one word more than anything else. No. And they hate it so much that they will try to compel the legal system to put you in fucking jail because you told them no. No, I'm not going to refer to you that way because I'm going to use the language of empiricism, and the language of empiricism is always going to sound like hate to the language of emotionalism. Stop using their language. Start using empirical, rational, reasonable, practical, pragmatic language to describe a condition, to describe a reality. This is a fucking phone, okay? This is a magic 8-ball, okay? That's what this is. This isn't a fucking golf ball. This isn't a chair. This isn't a fucking, a moon pie. What is about food today? I don't know. I'm getting hungry. I shouldn't do the show hungry. Yeah, it is what it is. And that's the language I'm going to use. And I'm doing you the favor by doing that, because then it forces you to out of your pathological little world that you think everybody should play along with. No, I'm not going to play along with you. We're going to use real language, because Lord knows that when the chips are down, and that's not a saber-toothed tiger, that's a little pretty house cat, let's go pet him. No, that's a saber-toothed tiger, and it's going to kill you. End of story. That's why you're that guy, Rollo. Yeah, I am.
Say my name.
Just the way you articulate yourself, the left and the Dems would have no choice but to do self-introspections on how they have lost this election with men. My guy. Yeah. Well, here's the thing is that those introspections are never going to come. That's the problem. It's like, would I love to do that? Sure. But it'll never happen, because that would preclude them having those introspections in the first place. And that's just simply not going to happen. Because to do so would mean that they would have to sort of like analyze their entire identity. You guys, would you like me to tell you this again? When Matt Walsh was on Dr. Phil, and he was doing What is a Woman, right? Which was really kind of like facetious to begin with, but and he's on there with the guy who looks like the bearded lady, and he's got this beard, and he's got lipstick on, he's got eyeshadow on, and long lashes and everything else, and he's pretending he's a guy. I would say you're a dude. He's there trying to talk about, well, what is a woman? What is it? Everything's subjective. Everything's relative. We can be whatever you want to. It's all in the realm of ideas. It's basically this fucked up bastardized version of intersectional genderism or feminism, whatever you want to call it. And I noticed this at the time, and I tried to spell this out to Matt, and would never get one error and out the other, right? But I said, look, you're never going to get these guys to concede on an empirical, objective definition of what a woman is, because if you did, it would force them to reassess their own identities that have been fostered and affirmed and reaffirmed over their probably most of their lifetime, so that they feel good about themselves. And that's why you don't use their language, because in doing so, you make them feel good about, well, you know, he's coming along. He's starting to call me what I want him to call me. No, just don't do that. Because if you do that, and again, as you were saying before, it's having the insight to really reassess their ideology would mean that they would have to reassess who they are as people, because they are ego invested in that ideology. Literally, that ideology is part of their personality. So you're not attacking the language. You're not attacking even sort of like little aspects of the ideology. You're attacking parts of their personality, because their personality is dependent on that ideology. So for that bearded lady to give Matt Walsh a definition of a concrete empirical definition of what a woman is would require him to say, okay, and that's not what I am. I'm a dude. I'm a biological man. And that's what it's about. And the more we get into like, the best thing that ever happened to this whole bullshit conversation is transgender men in women's sports. That's the best thing. I hope they keep doing it, because it's going to force them. Because what happens is you have the empirical reality slam headlong into the emotional. I want to feel good about myself. So, but to do that, you have to allow biological men into women's sports, because what is a woman? I don't know. We're going to find out. You're going to find out what a man is in a woman's sport. That's for sure. You know, like that one guy in the Olympics, that guy, by the way, in the Olympics, who just beat the living shit out of the girls in the boxing, right? There was no way, they had no chance of winning whatsoever. And they were, one chick got a busted jaw and a broken nose and everything else because the dude hits as hard as a dude. And but she's biologically, she's got ovaries tucked in there somewhere or whatever. Like, but it's a dude. It's a guy that is going to beat the living. Why aren't there any women in the NFL? Because they get killed if they were out there on the field. They'd be on there for 5 minutes and they'd get mowed over by a linebacker. And that'd be. Do you not think that women have tried? I don't know if I would have to ask Mike about this. I don't think there are any sexual limitations for NFL players. You just have to be qualified to play. Like, they don't say, you know what, we exclude women. No, women could play. They would get killed, but they could play. I'm wondering why there's not any like female kickers, because even those kickers are still subject to getting mowed over by a linebacker. It's just unbelievable, but that we even have to have this conversation. That's why you don't have the conversation. That's why you don't pander to that pathology. That's all it is. It's a pathological world that they want you to play along with by using their language. Oh, would you like to see? Wait, bicep calm time.
Ooh.
Oh, there it is. What is it? Johnny Bravo. I'm looking at the screen right there. It's frozen.
It's frozen, yeah.
I'm froze like this. Yeah. People kept saying, Rolo, you just always wear black. I'm like, okay, I wear something different. Look at those biceps. Holy crap. Yeah, thank you. I try hard for these biceps. As I said, it's all about physique, right? Off topic, but did you see the metal song Andrew Wilson put together and posted on X using the replies of the Sewing Circle Christians and lyrics? No, I haven't. Now I'm curious. Now I have to. Dude, thank you for that. No, now I'm very. He probably generated with AI, but okay. God, how awesome would that be if I brought that to the guys in Jinx and we just did a cover of that? They would do it too. All they do is be about it. Everybody in my band is very red pill. Tom Beaulieu, yes, is red pilled. No, he's not. Sorry. Married to a feminist. This is why he'll never have you on as a guest. Have a video with his wife trying to red pill her. What a disaster. No, he's not very red pill. I like Tom Beaulieu. We have got the invite. Mike and I got an invite to be on his show. We were even waiting for a date. This was back in March of this year. We were waiting for a date. Me and Mike actually canceled a couple shows because we thought we were going to be in LA to go do Tom Beaulieu's show. But it never materialized. And I think you're probably right about that. His wife is very feminist and does not like me. I think that's probably why I got sort of 86'd from it, which I feel bad because I think that if I had not been paired with Mike might have gotten on that show. I hate that shit, man, because it's like I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to be an asshole and keep people, from going and doing interviews.
Yeah.
But I have said this in the past, and by the way, if Tim Pool's watching, I've said this in the past. I said it's going to be a great day when both myself and Myron Gaines get asked to be on a show together. That's never happened. Never, ever happened. You want a good show? You want a show that's going to like just fucking rock it's going to break the internet? Put me and Myron on the same show and have us, I don't care what it is. Jubilee. You want a fucking show? Put me and Myron on a show together. Chris Williamson, put me and Myron on a show. Hell, fucking Tim Pool, just put both of us on there. We will fucking destroy that show in a good way. We won't destroy your show. But nobody wants to do that. No, they're too fucking scared to do something like that. And I don't know, people just ask what the guy just asked me a minute ago. He's like, "Oh, do you think that this wokeism is going to go away?" And then now things have this sort of been this sort of like sea change in the public opinion. No, I don't think so. But like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic about it. But until we start seeing like shows like Tom Bilyeu actually take, say, hey, you know what? What will happen? Here's what will happen. Somebody's going to put me and Mike on there. Like Chris Williamson will finally like pull his fucking balls out of his ass and like take a chance on me and Mike being on there, and it will fucking explode his viewership. He's going to go and like he had Matthew McConaughey on there just recently, which was a good interview, by the way, just because it's Matthew McConaughey. Right. But so he has the ability to get a celebrity on there, which is cool, but it didn't play as well as I thought it would. Like when he had Destiny on there for the first time, it went big. Right. And I don't see it actually reaching the same numbers as like having Destiny on there when Destiny was in his prime and people didn't know his own, faggy bullshit. But yeah, I think like Mike, I think Mike's right. Mike, every time I talk about this stuff with Mike, Mike's like, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. Just keep going. And it'll get to the point where we will be so unignorable that it will look weird that they haven't had us on. And I'm like, okay, because what else can we do, right? And I honestly, I would rather be doing this show and Access Vegas and other shows here at this studio and doing my own work than like bothering with people who can't possibly appreciate what it is that I do or Myron does or Mike does or whatever else. I can sit here and tell you all about Reignite, and I can tell you about like helping guys like firsthand, like I do. Hell, you were here when I was doing all the modules and everything for Reignite. And putting in the hours and the time. And I paid you to be the producer on everything. Like I wanted those things to look like a masterclass video. I didn't want to sit here in front of my laptop and just, do something with a bullshit background or anything like that. I wanted some like quality out of these things and putting in that time. And we've got more and more people signing up. I think we passed like 3,000. There are 3,000 members in MOA right now. And we're getting more and more guys. Like Reignite's only been up for a month, so like we're still, in the development stage. We've opened up the age requirement. Like we had an idea of doing it for like 40 and up, but and that's still kind of the tenet. But we've opened it up so like it doesn't matter what age you are. We're really focusing on more guys who have been zeroed out and they're kind of fighting back from zero. I think if we have a difference, if there's a fundamental difference between what I do with Reignite and what Mike does with MOA is that I specifically focus on guys who are trying to sort of fight back from a deficit and fight back from zero, like they're rebuilding their lives, or maybe you might even be like married and you're like, how do I get my wife to fuck me again? Like that kind of stuff. Like that's why we have the network of guys that we have right now. Now, primarily those guys might be a little bit older, but I'm more concerned with keeping the gun out of guys' mouths and the noose off their necks, right? And so that's why I started Reignite, and I'm happy to say that it's really developing and building into something even better. Like guys kind of trying to re-educate themselves and reinsert themselves back into the sexual marketplace after a failure, after a defeat, right? And so that's kind of like what we're doing with Reignite. But none of these guys, Tom Bellew doesn't know that. Chris Williamson doesn't know that. Fucking Pearl doesn't know that. None of these fucking idiots know that. Like they think that I'm just sitting here just doing a podcast. Like I haven't written 5 fucking internationally best-selling books. Like, yeah. And I'm working on a 6th right now too. I'm primarily an author. I'm going to publish in 2025. And no response. They don't fucking care. They just care about the next fucking, scandal. They care about I'm looking forward to when one of these idiots actually brings Destiny on and starts talking about like Melina and talking about like Lawrence Southern and like really nailing his ass to the wall.
He'll walk off.
He would. He probably would walk off. Yeah. Oh man, when you showed me that thing for Jubilee, oh my god, and he was like in the hot seat. Jubilee's doing this hot seat kind of thing. And by the way, Jubilee, don't call me for that shit because you will not want my response on there. Like they care. Jubilee doesn't give 2 shits about me, man. Jubilee had Justin Waller on.
Yeah,
they're not gonna have me on.
They've had Myron on too.
Have they had him on?
Yeah, for fat versus
fit. Fat versus.
Yeah. Same with Coach
Myron
Greg.
Gaines. Myron Gaines, you want to talk about fat shaming. That, by the way, that was the beginning of the end for Roosh, by the way, when he went on Dr. Oz. Is Dr. Oz like what did they promote him to?
I'm not too sure.
Like Donald Trump put him as like the health and fitness guru or czar or something like that. What is he?
Let's see.
What is he now?
Former political candidate.
Well, yeah, I know that, but I think he's like been like named as a candidate for.
I think they want him to run this November.
Oh, what was he? Maybe the chat knows. Dr. Oz was like nominated for some cabinet position. I'm not really sure what it is now. I won't say women are necessitous when it comes to sex. With their clock is ticking, they have children out of desperation rather than desire. Yeah. Because anybody will do once the biological clock starts ticking. You are correct, sir. Almost all judicial positions on my ballot were female. Yeah. Remember, all politics are local politics. The shit that you vote for, like in national elections, like for like who's going to be president, will affect you less than who you vote for in your local, in your county elections or your parish elections, whatever it is. If they ran opposed by a guy, I vote for the guy. If they ran unopposed, I wrote in my name. Sometimes you can like say none of these candidates, and that's usually what I do. Sup, Rolo, when you said that MGTOW would become popular, 2 channels that became popular last post-election were Better Bachelor and CGA. Yeah, but they were also came in right around 2017, 2018. And so, yeah, yes and no. You remember who Joker is, right? You remember Better Bachelor. You remember CGA, okay? Because those were the 2 guys who were the last men standing of a wave of people that came in during that time calling themselves MGTOW. And the reason why they did that is because these were guys who weren't about, and now maybe, Greg Adams and Joker are probably not part of this, what I'm about to say. But there was a wave of guys who came in to the space, and they were coming in as a result of having taken seminars or classes or whatever on like how to get rich online. And you got to go find a niche, right? So sometimes that niche was fitness, right? So if you knew something about working out or nutrition, you could develop a good this is the days when you were starting to develop a personal brand. And I was doing the same thing. It's just like I already was established for like probably 15 years before then. And then you could, or maybe you wanted to talk about gaming, or maybe you wanted to talk about like politics, or maybe whatever it was. There was like a certain number of niches, and they are all attached to trending hashtags. One of those hashtags was MGTO at that time, or W. And people didn't even know what MGTOW was, or what they just saw this is trending and I want to be a part of this. And because if I can get my channel to the next level by putting this as a hashtag on all of the titles of my videos or in the descriptions of my videos, then so be it, right? The reason why I know this is because at that time, during 2017, 2018 is when I met Elliot Hulse. Elliot Hulse already had a very strong brand. At that time, he had guys where they would get together and they would like be men, right? They would like lift heavy fucking rocks and they'd go work out together and do the rope exercises and shit like that together. And it was all, he kind of like jumped the religious shark somewhere around 2018, 2019. I haven't heard much from Elliot Hulse since then, but he was actually part of the Red Man group at that time. Like we brought him in. He came to some of the 21 conventions and everything. And there was a time during that time where he was like, I think I want to go MGTOW. And we were like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like MGTOW, like especially for his brand. Like his brand was definitely not MGTOW, right? It was definitely like be a better dude. You know, chicks will want to fuck you, blah, blah, blah. MGTOW was like very opposite of what his brand was. And so we were looking at him like, do you know what MGTOW is? He's like, no, but I see it's a trending hashtag and I want to add it to my brand. We're like, no. I don't think this is what you think it is. This is like counter. It runs completely opposite of what your brand is really all about, right? And that was when I realized that the hashtag MGTOW was trending and people were adding it to their personal brands because they just wanted to trend with the hashtag, right? And so I'm not saying that was the case with CGA because obviously he's been around for a lot longer, and the same thing with Joker's been around a lot longer. But during that time, that's when they built their brands, and there was a whole kinds of other come ups at that time. Now, since then, I'm not sure that either one of those guys would necessarily call themselves MGTOWs. And from the position of like, I know that well, first of all, I know both. I don't know if CGA has been on, but I do know that. Joker has been on Fresh and Fit a few times. And one of the things after I watched him on Fresh and Fit, I was like, would you still call yourself a MGTOW? Because it's like the way you're talking and the way you're interacting with these chicks makes me think you're a lot more red pill than you are like MGTOW. And I'm not saying it's a good, bad thing, whatever. I'm just saying, did you come in on the MGTOW wave during this 2017 and 2018? And now we're evolving. I've evolved from the MGTOW. Sure. Yeah. But and by the way, I'm not, even if that's the case, I'm not saying it's even all that bad. But yeah. So why did I say that though? Because when we come out of an election cycle, MGTOW is the next big thing. And I will tell you right now, like if you want to know, like when I was locking horns with idiots like MGTOW Dictionary and some of these other dudes during the time, it was 2021. It was August of 2021. It was right after the election. That's when MGTOW starts to trend. It'll go up right after the election. Because what will happen is you'll be on a moralistic wave for a little while. There'll be like the Ben Shapiro's and who's the other guy? Charlie Kirk. You have Charlie Kirk and you have some of these other guys who are like manly men and men need to be better before women and blah, 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 blah. And then that will play and it will rub MGTOWs the wrong way. And MGTOWs will start like mouthing off about the trad cons, which is how you get like a guy like Turd Flinging Monkey, who I like. But TFM, MGTOW, TFM, actually no towel, like no pussy. He's not going his own way. He is out of the picture, gone, right? But that's how you get guys like the popularized guys in MGTOW is a direct response to all the moralistic, what we call moral fags in the system. And they will, like, if you look at some of the stuff, if you look, and I could show, I have the video, it's fantastic. If you look at the back and forth between Turd Flinging Monkey and PragerU during like 2016 and 2017, you will completely understand what I'm talking about, because there's never been a more bitter rivalry than Turd Flinging Monkey and Dennis Prager. Holy shit. That was some like, and I like TFM, right? I do like TFM. But man, he was at his best when he was like locking horns with I would wait for the next one to come out, the next video to come out, because it was so good. Some of his best work was done like like a comic genius, by the way, with Dennis Prager. The MSNBC character with Johnny Test hairstyle name is Anand. Oh, yeah, that guy. Girandas. That was the gray-haired dude who I brought up in the last show.
Yeah.
For MSNBC. Dude, what is it about these dudes, man?
Johnny Test. Haven't heard that in a while.
Johnny Test. Just Christmas question. Christmas. Yes. Holiday magic. Can you determine genuine desire by the reaction she gives by receiving gifts for me or from me, expensive or otherwise? I would say less expensive gifts than more expensive gifts. Only because it goes back to the burden of performance, the burden of romanticism that is placed on men. And why am I saying that? Well, because being romantic, like it's always like this prerequisite for men to be romantic. You got to keep it fresh, bro. What do you do to keep it fresh? Nothing. I do nothing. Oh, I'm me. What's not to love, man? No, I'll tell you, it's not that I wouldn't make an effort or anything like that. The thing is that it's romance is not something you plan. It's not. A guy being romantic doesn't even know he's being romantic. He's like completely oblivious to it. So that's why I say, like, the guy who makes a ring out of a gum wrapper, you got to learn how to do this, guys. You got to figure out how to make a ring you could do it. It's like origami, right? You have to learn how to make a ring out of a gum wrapper, and you give that to her and say, someday we're going to be married. Oh, I kept that ring. It's in my jewelry box. I still have it today. I don't know what happened to that guy, right? That level of it's a worthless gum wrapper, right? But she's still in her fucking jewelry box, and it's from a guy that you didn't even know his name from like when she was like 14. Okay. It's the guys who make romantic gestures aren't doing it because they're trying to. Romance is never contrived. Okay. Trust me on this. You will have better sex and have a more meaningful experience with a chick that you just broke up with and you're having makeup sex with than any like date night you could come up with, right? Hey guys, I'm gonna go sprinkle rose petals all over the honeymoon suite, and I got a jacuzzi suite at the Palms, and man, we're gonna have a steak dinner. Oh man, we're gonna take the kids to her sisters. We're gonna fuck. Oh man, I got this cheap Walmart lingerie for her. Like all this shit, you make all this. Michael say this all the time. Like women think that like romance happens like just spontaneously when the guy is like he's setting like the humidity in the room and the barometric pressure and like the Venus aligns with Pluto. It's just like all this shit, down to the most minute detail, and she thinks it's just magic. It's holiday magic, right? No. Like guys will become fucking romance scientists to make that shit happen, and women just think it just happened. No, because guys are basically the guys who do that are trying to recreate something that happened that is just complete spontaneity and just like serendipity, right? I mean, it's just something that happened. And like people always say, "Oh, be a Skittles man." Does anybody remember? Do you know what being a Skittles man is? Probably not. No. There was a story a long time ago in a blogosphere far, far away. There was a blogger by the name of Royce, and Royce related this one story on his blog. It was called Royce in DC then. It wasn't even Chateau Artiste then. It was like so early. But the Skittles man or the Skittles guy he had actually he was trying to diffuse a situation between two chicks he was fucking at the same time, and they found out about each other. And the dude was just so fucking alpha that he was giving gifts, to one, and it was never anything more than candy, And so that one of the times he gave as a birthday present to one of his girls a bag of Skittles. That's all. Not a fucking, Louis Vuitton fucking bag or whatever the fuck. No, nothing super expensive, nothing like that. a bag of Skittles, and the chick just like went and fought the other girl because of that bag of Skittles, right? Because she thought that he had that much more love for her because she got the bag of Skittles, right? And it was like, what's a bag of Skittles cost you? Like $2, $3 today? You know? That was it. That's why you're the guy that is so desirable that you can give a woman a bag of Skittles, and it is the most romantic gesture that you could possibly do. Or that, like I said, the gum wrapper ring, you know. So when you're talking about like romance, when you're talking about doing something special, giving gifts, giving compliments, give her a card, do this, get her flowers, blah, blah, blah. Like that stuff. Like, I'm not saying don't give your girl flowers. Like, by the way, I think that like gifts, especially flowers, and compliments should be reinforcement of desired behavior. And I know that sounds really mercenary. I realize how mercenary that sounds, but like, if you're going to give a woman flowers, it shouldn't be just spontaneously. It should be for desired behavior. It's operant conditioning. And people fucking queer. Alex from Date Psych is like, oh, Rollo is a behavioral psychologist. He doesn't know anything about evolutionary psychology. I said, yeah, but I majored in behavioral psychology because that's the only thing that was available at the school I was going to at that time. Since then, I have actually studied, evolutionary psychology for a long time. But that doesn't mean that behaviorism doesn't apply to a lot of shit that goes off in intersexual dynamics, right? Such as operant conditioning. Operant conditioning being that you're rewarding an animal for desired behavior. We could talk all you want about B.F. Skinner and the blank slate and everything else. Okay, I could talk your ear off about that. That's what I went to school for. But the long and the short of it is that operant conditioning still fucking works. If it didn't work, you wouldn't be addicted to scrolling through. Keep going. People wouldn't be gambling addictions, all that other shit. It's behaviorism. It's still founded on what's the behavior, what's the reward, what's the punishment, what's the negative reinforcement, positive reinforcement. Still works. So if it didn't, you wouldn't be able to go see Shamu at fucking SeaWorld, go jump and snatch a fish out of the lady's hand and probably tear her arm off. Yeah, trust me, behaviorism to a degree works. Yes, it might not be founded on what it used to be, but yeah. But that's really the principle behind like giving gifts and giving compliments and stuff like that. It's like you give compliments when you want to desire behavior. That's why, like, you don't want, like, I think this is pretty much standard, is you don't want to give too much compliments or too much gifts or whatever, because frequency and commonness makes the value go down. Right? That's a pretty basic principle. That's behaviorism. That's pretty much a basic principle of behaviorism. If a reward is too easily gotten, then it's not going to develop and model behavior. Because if I can get it, I can get it. If I can't, then I'll do certain things. I'll make behavior. Like if you put a rat in a Skinner box, right? Or if you put a rat in a box and you make it like press a lever to get a pellet of food, and it's constantly coming out, and it's like regular reward. It hits the lever, out comes a pellet. Now, if you stop giving it every third lever press, then it pops out, right? Well, what's the rat going to learn? He's going to learn how to 1, 2, 3. It comes out, right? Now, if you go 1, 2, and it comes out, and then you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it comes out, and it's intermittent reward. That's what women do with sex for men. That's what it is. It's like you never know when you're going to get it, but it's basically a reward for desired behavior. So what I've always advocated for is just do the same, use the same game back on women. That's the same thing. What's a reward for women? Like, have you heard these? Like, some guys will do this. Like, they'll use this as a stupid example. I'm not sure how realistic this is, but like they'll say something like, well, my wife really turned me on. She wore this really nice lingerie and she really wanted to fuck. And then at the last minute, she's like, nah, not really feeling it. And then you're stuck there with your dick in hand and you got blue balls, yeah. Right? Like that kind of stuff. Okay. So then where they say, well, what you should do is you should take her to the mall and say, yeah, honey, you can charge up, get this Louis Vuitton bag and whatever you want. You got to get up to the cashier and you go, nah, not really feeling it anymore. And like that's the flip side of it, right? Like that's the operant conditioning equivalent of intermittent reward and punishment for undesired behavior, right? Does it still exist? Yes, it does. You just have to look for it, right? So that's like when you give like, this is old school game stuff. Like if you're going to give a woman compliments, you don't give it to her, oh baby, you're so hot. Like Mike will say this all the time, man, don't like women's photos just because they're showing tits and ass, right? If a woman earns her master's degree in astrophysics, then you like that because it's something that's concrete, right? Mm-hmm. But if it's a chick that's just like showing off her latest, Honey Burdette G-string, you don't give her a fucking like for that, right? Because all you're doing is giving her positive reinforcement, and you're not the guy that's going to let the simps do that. Mm-hmm. Simps do that. Men do not. Like guys who are, ladies, if a guy is interested in you, he's probably not liking your pictures. And if he is, he's probably not the guy that you would break rules for to get with. So, oh man, Aaron Clary, holy mother Mary, mother of God. How do I operantly condition my friend to go 20-mile hike with me? Who are you talking about? That all depends on the quality of that friend. Can I bring my dog? 20-mile hike. Who the fuck's going to go on a 20-mile hike? Are you kidding me? I might be good for 5. I have to go pick up. By the way, Aaron Clary will be back in Las Vegas. He's doing his Las Vegas residency.
He's doing his rounds.
I am picking him up from the airport at 11:44 p.m. from Las Vegas airport on Tuesday and bringing him back to his abode in his place here. I guess it's now time for him the snowbird has finally come back to the warm weather, so relatively warm weather of Las Vegas. So when Aaron is back, I mean, he'll if I can get him to do it, he'll be one of the first male guests we have on Access Vegas when he comes back. And then I also want to get him in here and have him sit across so he can do Rational Male with me. And then, by the way, since he's watching right now, Aaron, you're more than welcome to use this studio whenever you'd like. In fact, we'll even give you Kyle for a couple of the first ones here. So if you want to use this wonderful, beautiful jungle studio,
I'm here at your disposal.
Look how beautiful. Wow, where did these plants come from? We should name them. This is Nigel, and this is Barry over here. Would you be interested in collabing with At Maury? I don't know who At Maury is. Siege D. Who is At Maury? I don't know who that is. I might be a game. Omar, thank you for the 11 TRYs, whatever those are. What is a TRY?
Turkish
lira? Turkish lira?
Turkey lira, I think.
Thank you, my friend. What did he say? Will do. Just got to get on a hike first. Lend me the dogs. Lend you the dogs. You can have Anna. Anna will run you ragged. Anna will go on a 20-mile hike with you. I am 100% sure. Yes. Asshole consulting. He will consult your asshole for you. What is this? This is asshole. What was that Jim Carrey bit where he would like open his asshole? Oh, yeah. Asshole we talking. That's asshole consulting. I am an asshole. Yeah, that would be funny as hell. What else do I got rolling in here? Oh, what time is it? Oh, we got a little bit more time. Let me remove some of these out of the extra scoop of rice. That was sheer genius. I still have Melina in the lineup here. Goodbye, Melina. Just so you guys know, I don't want to make this show about like Destiny and all that shit again. I would much rather give you guys nuts and bolts and answer questions and shit like that. But I would be remiss if I didn't say I am aware of the leaks, of the message leaks from Destiny to whoever his homosexual lovers are. And yes, I am aware of the butt plugs. I am aware of the conversations, and it wasn't something. This is a family show, sir. How dare you? Yes. Yeah. And he is.
She's not a Christian.
Yes, he's not a Christian. Yeah, I trust me. The if Destiny's not cooked after this, I don't know what else would, right? Maury is, what is his name? Maury equals that big content creator in your chat with a check mark. Who the fuck is that? Maury.
Try and find him.
Find who this dude is. I have no idea. Maury? Who watches Destiny's? Oh, that's a question I don't need answered. Maury has 2.3 million subscribers, is Red Pill, and he's in your chat each Sunday. Oh, yeah, I guess. Sure. I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, for sure. Have you hit me up before? I don't know. Yeah, I would. Yeah, for sure. Whenever. Where are you out of, bro? Are you out of Vegas? See, when people don't want to do collabs with me, my brain goes to like a live show. I want people to like, maybe it's because we're in the studio now, but I'm always thinking about a live show. But like, I guess one of these days, me and you, and I'm gonna have to get Ryan Stone in here. I want Ryan Stone to Ryan, just come to fucking Vegas already. Jesus. You know, it's funny is he was talking about like, cause he's talking about how bad it's getting in Canada right now. And his, I guess his common law wife, for lack of a better term, has been given a chance, I think, to work for I think she works for an airline of some sorts. And she's going to be going to Chicago. And so he's talking about like expatriating, I guess, to the United States, which I think is long overdue. But don't go. I mean, okay, Chicago, really? You're going to get killed, man. It's called Chirac. They call it Chirac for a reason, my friend. But you can come to Vegas and you can have the run of the studio. I bequeath you my kingdom. Yeah. I'll definitely do something with Maury. I need to look at his stuff. He's super Red Pill. Okay, well, yeah. Hit me up, Maury. I'll be happy to. My contact information is in the description, like it always is. But yeah, I would definitely be open to doing any kind of content with. You don't have to have 2.3 million. I'll do anything with like a good Red Pill content creator. If I can get a good conversation out of it, I'm happy to do it. So yeah, just let me know. Please do contact me today while I go and look for this video file that I was looking for. Okay. I have to do this. I've been meaning to get to this one for a while. And I talked about this briefly on Access Vegas with Mike. And Mike was wondering what video I was talking about. This is the video I was talking about.
Don't acknowledge on the left is that women aren't interested in mating with men who aren't economically viable.
Why do we hate those women? Because when it was reversed, when it was more men graduating from college, you didn't see women lining up to hate them.
Okay. She's already used the word hate twice. So we're already of the presumption that men hate successful, quote, whatever that means, successful women. Okay. So we've already set the tone of the conversation here with an emotion. What is that emotion? That emotion is hate.
And now those young men look at those women, those successful women, and they look at them with anger, with fury. Explain this one to me.
Okay. This is where I had to stop stop Mike and everything when we were talking about this. And I said, look, Scott Galloway seems to agree with this chick anyways, that men hate women who are successful. They hate them because they have achieved all this stuff. They're, whether it's college enrollment or graduation, or it's because they're making more money, or it's because they're in positions of power. It's because they're strong, independent women, yada, yada, yada. All this stuff. And by the way, this really coincides with what's the guy, what was it? The Johnny Test guy?
Johnny Test
guy that was on MSN. It really kind of locks in with this mentality that the left can't seem to get past the fact that they think that men hate women. And that's really, I think, sort of the crux of the whole thing when it comes to the red pill, because I think too many, and by the way, TradCon women think the same thing, but like there are too many people think that the red pill is about men hating women. And as you know, you probably heard this before, it's not about that. It is about men not hating women for what they can never be to them. And that's why I keep saying, like, even Scott Galloway says women want men who are economically attractive, economically viable, right? And it's not they're seething with hatred. It's that they don't, those women don't want to have anything to do with those men. Average women don't want to get with average men.
You're absolutely right. And when these men get isolated, they are more prone to misogynistic content. They're less likely to believe in climate change. They're more prone to the conspiracy theory. I want to be clear. No one has an obligation to service men who aren't having sex. No group has fallen further faster in our nation than young men.
Okay. So there's this this is where I take very strong issue against this idiot. Okay. And I do mean that, idiot. The very fact that he's agreeing with this chick who's talking about how, oh, men must hate strong, independent, successful women. And they hate them not just because they're women, but they hate them also because of their success. And that's what's triggering all of this. And they're just sitting around with nothing better to do than to clench their fists like fucking Arnold in like the Arnold fist shaking like that. Like that's the way they think. And yeah, exactly. Misogynistic content. They're well, what is that? Is that this show, Scott? Is that Myron and Fresh? Is that Andrew Tate? Because as far as I know, he's not telling them to go hate on them for their successes. All right. Anything that doesn't sort of toe this, put men back on the plantation, anything that doesn't put men, puts men in a stronger position in as far as gender dynamics is concerned. Anytime guys even like use the language of empiricism to describe a very realistic, very easy to understand problem, they're called misogynists for doing that. You know why? Because it's unflattering to female nature. Anytime people have asked me this before, and I like, what is like, Rollo, what is mental point of origin? How do I understand mental point of origin better? Here's a good test. Okay. If I say something that is empirically, factually true about female nature, and even women agree with it, right? If I say, well, I can say this, for example, I can say, well, if it's something that is unflattering to female nature, if I say, well, women tend to prioritize emotion before reason. What will happen is you'll have the first time you'll hear, well, women will say this all the time, but you hear a guy say, yeah, well, men are emotional too. Like that guy, the guy who just said he has to sort of balance the yin to the yang. Like if I'm the yin and I say women are emotional and they prioritize emotion before reason, and you're the yang to but there's a yin. We can't have a yin without a yang. So we have to say, well, men do it too. And sometimes they do it worse, right? Or if it's a double standard, anything that's a double standards are easy. If you say something about like women that's unflattering about women, if I say like, when it comes to like, say slut shaming, for example, women slut shame other women by an order of magnitude greater than men ever will. Because most men are afraid to do that. They don't want to ruin their chance. Either they don't want to ruin their chances with fucking getting in this girl's pants, or they're just simply like too pussies to say anything about it, right? But if I say that, and the next thing out of this other guy's mouth is, well, men slut shame too. Your mental point of origin is on women. Your mental point of origin is not how your decision to say that tells me that your mental point of origin is outside of yourself. Your mental point of origin is focused on womankind, on the sisterhood, on what your mom will think, on what your wife will think, on what your girlfriend will think, or what your future possible potential girlfriend might think if she sees this video and you don't say something. Right? That is a clear statement of mental point of origin right there, because you felt that you had to sort of balance that equation. But no one does that for men ever. So if I say, for example, if I say that women, and this is empirically provably researched true, women have a better sense of smell than men. It's absolutely true. No one says, well, men have pretty good noses too. No one fucking says that. Or if I say women have a higher facility with communication, like they understand subcommunications better. They are their conversations are, if I say their conversations are about feelings and context and they enjoy conversation. They enjoy women focus on people primarily, men focus on things, right?
EQ.
Yeah. If I just leave it at that, I say women focus on primarily on people. If you look at their choices for college majors, if you look at the careers that they tend to go into, they find like working with people more rewarding than working with things, if they find it rewarding at all, right? And even in the most gender egalitarian countries on planet Earth, if you leave women and men to their own devices, women are going to choose traditionally gender stereotypical make those choices. They're going to, whether it's career or it's college majors or starting a business or whatever else, and men are going to be stereotypically men. Men are going to be men, women are going to be women. If you leave them to their own devices, that's what they're going to gravitate towards. Even in the most egalitarian, most neutral, gender neutral countries, they still do that. But if I throw that out there and I say something like, if I say that women are better at communication, or they have a better facility for communication, sub-communications, physical, body language, that kind of stuff. Women, oh yes. Yes. Nobody says that. There's nobody that chimes in and says, well, men are pretty good at communication too. Nobody says that, right? But if I say men are better at spatial, pattern recognition, they're better at spatial, like 3 dimensions, like throwing an object. They're better at STEM fields. They're better at cognitive tasks. They're better at mathematics. If I say that, I'll be punished for that. I will lose my tenure at fucking college as a teacher because I made that observation, that very empirical, factual observation. And that will be right after somebody says, yes, but women are pretty good at math too. And if you teach them this and blah, 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 right? There'll always be a guy who will chime in and say, yes, but. That guy who says, yes, but, his mental point of origin is on women and not himself, and not on the facts, and not on what he believes in, and maybe he does believe in that. But his mental point of origin is on women. That's the easiest way to find that out. So when I see something like Scott Galloway talking about this shit like here, and he agrees with this stuff, what he doesn't chime in with, instead of saying, yeah, but, he could have said this. Like, if a woman says, well, what are we going to do about all these men who hate women for their success? You're presuming that they do already. You're presuming that that's a given and that's a truth. It's not. Okay. So if I was there, why is he not saying, yes, but women get into primarily their success, their greater success, and is primarily based on a higher college enrollments. What are they majoring in? Well, they're majoring in fields that have to do mostly with human beings, with people. They get into social sciences, they get into psychology, they're getting into law more, they get into human resources, they get into communication. They get into, like, if you look at, and this is why I really want Aaron Clarey to come on my show, right? Because he's done these breakdowns in most of his, like the Book of Numbers, certainly A World Without Men, The Menu, lots of these other books that he's written about. He's an actuary. He's the numbers guy. Men are better with numbers. Fucking Aaron Clarey sort of shit is, right? But the fact is that there's this presumption that young men hate women for their success. Well, what's their success in? It's not in being working out on some oil derrick in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico. Women don't do that. Men do that. It's not working in raw sewage. Men do those fucking jobs, right? It's not working on high radio towers and doing fucking physical, demanding, dangerous fucking work. Men do those things. And you know what those men aren't thinking about when they're out in the patch and they're fucking, working on an oil field or some shit like that? They're not thinking about hating women. They're thinking about how they're going to fucking make ends meet and how they're going to make their rent. They're thinking about shit. They're not thinking about this shit. And to say that men hate women for their success is bullshit, number one. And that's where you should have started, Scott Galloway, is calling her on her bullshit, and then say, well, what is women's quote unquote success based on? Well, it's based on a very small, limited criteria and a very small a subset of women who get into fields that only apply to women. And we're going to say they're successful and men just by and large are not, or they hate them because of those successes in those very limited, very, very insular, atomized fields. Get the fuck out of here, Scott Galloway. Why are you not calling her on her bullshit on this presumption of hatred? Well, he's not, because it sounds right, because it plays to his base, and he's just as bad as any like sort of we got man bun fucking masculine, like what's Justin Baldoni, right? Just as bad as any of these guys, and you don't fucking get it because you won't allow yourself to get past your own ideology until something really, really bad happens. Until Trump wins an election, until all this bullshit, because he was talking about this before the election. He said, well, we need more masculinity like Tim Walz, right? We need more masculinity. He's kind of like a lovable, fuzzy, stuffed animal coach that you want to just, he's there to listen to you. Like, he's a mother. Those are characteristics of a mom, not of a dude. And they'll say, well, yeah, so there's only like two fucking extremes. There's the Tim Walz guy who's just sort of like, oh, let's talk about our feelings and sit in a drum circle and cry it out. And then there's Donald Trump, who's just like, fuck y'all, and let's go take trend, right? Let's legalize all of us. We're gonna legalize every form of gear. We're gonna legalize, right? But he makes these parodies and these caricatures of masculinity, and on both sides, by the way. He makes the one without realizing, and he makes the other by intent. I say, oh, these guys get into misogynistic content, and they believe in conspiracies like global warming and blah. Where the fuck did that come from, by the way? But the guy thinks that the source of all their problems and all their failures as progressive individuals doesn't lie in their failed ideology and their failed memes. It lies in, well, men, these guys are just clinging to being stereotypical men. No, they're not. And I'm quite honestly, I'm kind of sick of the bullshit, right? Maury. Okay, Maury. I will be happy to
I just sent over his channel.
Yeah, I saw it. I just saw it in the chat or in the text. Okay. Yeah, man, dude, anytime, please. I didn't know who he was, so I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not. That's not an insult. I just didn't know. That's cool. Yeah. Do you want to do it live? Come in here. Come here live, or I'll go to you. Either way. I mean, like, you're gonna ask me to come on your show. I'll be happy to do it live. Just let me know when, or just come here live. That'd be cool too. I really think people need to do shit more live. Oh, and then Jesus Christ. Yeah, I saw this too. Okay, somebody sent me, who's a psychedelic socialist? Somebody sent me some more leaks from Destiny. Oh, God. Yeah, I saw the one where he's sort of like appealing to some 15-year-old kid. Yeah. Like, let me ask, can I ask a question? This is an honest to God question. I'm not trying to be a dick about the, well, maybe a little bit, but like, why is it that like Jack Murphy, like when all that shit went down with Jack Murphy, and like people probably don't even remember this. Like, I remember when Jack Murphy went on what was a podcast? It was You Are Here podcast with Sydney Watson and Elijah Schaefer. I know because it was I had gone on the show the week before. Why is it that guy gets completely ostracized, loses his spot, his semi-regular spot on Tim Pool because of a blog post he wrote about like women fucking his wife, like, and how proud he was and how he thought it was a surprising source of masculine energy to be cool with his girlfriend going off on Tinder dates and fucking random guys and having her tell him about it. And then you find out that the dude is into like sort of ass play and like likes to get after it with twinks or whatever. Like, he's like this closeted homosexual, whatever. And like he's completely ostracized. He disappeared. And rightly so. It disappears. But then you got a guy like Destiny and does worse than that. And the guy's on Pierce Morgan. And the guy's going on Chris Williamson. And the guy, I mean, worse. I mean, arguably. Now you can debate me on this if you want, but Destiny is objectively worse than Jack Murphy ever was. And we lionize the guy. And we put him on fucking, he's on Piers Morgan. He goes on Jubilee. He goes on fucking, he debates Palestine versus Israel with Tommy Lahren on fucking Piers Morgan. That dude. And you know what he's about right now? And you know what? Piers Morgan will still have him on. I guarantee you. He will not have Jack Murphy on, but he will have Destiny on. It's unbelievable. Like, at what point do we have to sort of draw the line? I have one last thing here that I have to get into because I thought this was funny. I saw there, and I don't have the tweet available, but I got this other tweet that is available here. One of the things that I get criticized for occasionally is the war brides dynamic. Well, war brides, but also the alpha widow concept, right? And what is the alpha widow concept? The alpha widow concept is this: is that like women, when I talk about notch count and why notch count should matter to guys, it's not about the promiscuity side of it. It's about deepening the pool of guys who could have had an alpha impact on that woman. That's like, promiscuity is promiscuity. If I don't, by the time I got to about 50, all that bullshit about like, oh, how many bodies does she have? When you get to like your mid 40s or early 50s, somewhere around there, all that pretentious bullshit just flies out the fucking window. It really does. Like, is she DTF? Yeah. Okay. Well, all right, let's go. Don't care. But the only reason why I even make a big deal out of body count is not because of the promiscuity side of things, or like guys will say, well, you know, she's not going to be a good bet for marriage. Like, well, if you don't believe in marriage in the first place, why the fuck would you care? Like, oh, well, she's promiscuous. Good. If you don't care about getting married, you don't want to have kids with her, that's a green flag, my friend. She's got tattoos. Wow, game on, man. I'm not getting you're not marrying her. What the fuck? That's a go sign, man. But I think people still have that sort of in the back of their head and they want to get all moralistic about it. Now, if there is something that kind of feels off, instinctually feels off about that, it's because that if a woman has more players in her backfield, there's the higher instance or a higher statistically, just by permutations, right? Statistically, that one of those guys is going to have the most alpha impact on her. And that's going to be the guy that you have to measure up to. That's the litmus test. That's the benchmark that was set for you. So guys will be like, well, Rolo, she was with the guy and he was better than me and a bigger cock. And he was like, you know, taller than me and he had more muscles and he had more money and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, well, that's, you either stay with her and you outdo that motherfucker or you leave. You make the choice. Most guys will leave, right? I don't know, I could never measure up. Well, if that's the case, if that's your mentality, then get out. Find some girl from the Amish Dutch country who has no partners or one partner. That's why virgin brides are like such a thing. But it comes back to the concept of the alpha widow, right? And the guy that woman was with that rocked her world that she can't seem to get over. Now, by order of degree, most women have that guy, right? I am not the first guy that got with my wife. Neither is my wife the first woman that I ever got with, right? So, but like we've been married for 28 years. We have a child together. We're very much in love. We just fucked last night. It was fantastic. Because I outclass every motherfucker she was ever with. And I could tell you that with 100% assurity, right? I outclass. Look, at 56 years old, okay? You could look at me physically. You could look at me like intellectually. You can look at me like success-wise. By every fucking metric, I am the best she could do. Oh, well, how come Mrs. Tomasi allows him to go and allows him to go to Babes in Toilet? That I'm the best she can do. She knows that. She'll tell you that. It's funny. I was it took me by surprise. I was on Fresh and Fit, I think, or no, maybe it was Valuetainment. Yeah. I was on there with Sterling Cooper one time, and Sterling Cooper started talking about my wife because we hang out like in Lake Tahoe and stuff. We gone on vacation and stuff with him and Justin. Justin's a family friend too, and he goes, you guys don't see like Rolo and his wife like when they're off together because like and I don't even realize this myself until like Sterling said this. He says she can't take her eyes off of him. Like she's always looking at me and like but basically is very appreciative. And like, I don't know if it's just like a subconscious thing or whatever, but he mentioned that. And I was like, yeah, I guess she kind of does. Right. And so for me to be sort of insecure about whether or not my wife had like, 6 or 7 prior lovers before I came along, I don't give 2 flying fucks about that because I know that I'm the best she can do. Right. And have been since fucking day one. Right. And even if I wasn't at the time, I sure as fuck am now.
Hell yeah.
And so, so when guys are like, oh, there's no way to get past the alpha widow thing, blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe for you because you're a sad piece of shit, but you don't have to be. You could be better. You could be better at what you do. You can always improve yourself. You're a guy, man. You got fucking all the time in the world, man. I'm 56 years. I'm going to be 57 in April of next year. Right. Look at the guns. Right. I mean,
value with time.
Yes. That's the fucking great thing about being a fucking man, dude. It's like you have slow decay of your agency. Slow. And like by the time that's why I keep saying, man, I don't want to die in a fucking assisted living facility, dude. I want to be in my Camaro listening to Angel of Death by Slayer before I like slam into 200 miles an hour. I'll probably be on the drive from Las Vegas to LA, but yeah, I mean, like, people, oh, that's so stupid, Rolo. That was stupid. I'm like, what would you rather? I would rather go out like that than like die, from fucking pneumonia or like water filling my lungs in some assisted living facility where nobody gives 2 shits about you, right? Better to burn out than fade away, man.
Yep.
And so like when I'm talking about stuff like this, and like people, it's really hard for people to wrap their heads around the fact that like there's better ways to check out and get your ticket punched than oh, I'm gonna sit, I'll have all my friends around me. And I'll be on life support and drooling, and they'll all be like, okay, it's okay, Dad. You can let go. Fuck that. Fucking set me on fire or something. Put a grenade on me. I don't care.
Rob a plane and fly into the mountain.
That's right, man. Fucking D.B. Cooper, man. Never to be seen from again.
Was that Alaska King that did that?
No, it was in, did you ever see, it was, yeah, that might have been it, but no, there's a really great series called, and I just saw it on Netflix. I binge watched the whole thing. It was Prison Break.
Prison Break, yeah.
Oh, great. Fucking great show, man. Great show. Yeah. How do you want to check out? So, anyways, I want to sort of challenge this idea because I think it was like Alex from Date Psych was saying something to the effect of like, oh man, most guys or most women don't really have an alpha widow. It's just, this is sort of mating bullshit that he's just keeps stroking off to all the time. And I wanted to read this one. Like somebody sent me the link. I don't even follow the dude anymore, but somebody sent me that link. And then I was looking at this and I go, well, you might want to take that up with all of the romance literature that has been written since, I don't know, like the turn of the century, right? When you look at like Jane Eyre, or you're looking at like Emily Bronte, or you're looking at like even like Pride and Prejudice. If you look at even the old romance novelists, all the way up through Harlequin romance and fucking Fabio and all that stuff, you look at every single one of those romance novels follows the alpha widow arc. And it's successful and is a multi-trillion-dollar industry because it follows that same thing. Now there's different, there might be the sci-fi version or the cowboy version or the 1920s version, but it's the same fucking, it's Taco Bell, man. It's the same ingredients, it's just in a different fucking shell, right? And so the reason why that's successful is because it follows it's like, you ever hear that? It's a song, it's called Two Princes by the Spin Doctors.
Yes.
And it's like she's torn between the happy-go-lucky guy who doesn't have any money that would really be a great choice for her, and she loves him and wants to fuck him. He's exciting. Or she can get with the rich guy who's a well-heeled daddy's boy. He's a trust fund, 6'5", blue eyes, finance, right? Like he's that guy. And so it's always and that's the basis of the song. And the reason why it's popular amongst women as well is because it follows that story arc based on the fucking alpha widow dynamic, right? Just look at it. So that's number one. But we also have here's number two. We also have to look at the most famous love story of all fucking time. What was that? Titanic.
Yep.
Based on the alpha widow dynamic. So don't come at me, Alex from fucking Date Psych. Go talk to fucking, what is it, Cameron? James Cameron. Go talk to James Cameron and tell him and convince him to give back his Best Picture award from the Academy Awards for 1997 because he's a fraud, because all women don't really do that. Get the fuck out of here. Go and convince him that he shouldn't have written that story about Rose taking the $250 million. I didn't realize this $250 million, the heart of the sea, and drops it down to the bottom of the. Doesn't care about the inheritance or like the family. Maybe my children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, great great grandchildren, great 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 grandchildren could have used the $250 million I just dropped at the bottom of the sea because some 16-year-old kid drew her naked and fucked her once and went to the bottom of the ocean. And doesn't care about gives two flying fucks about the guy who, like, you see all those pictures at the end where she's like doing English writing and she's like Amelia Earhart and flying planes and shit like that and all this other stuff. And she's got, kids and grandkids, and they weren't jacks. Well, maybe one of them was, but they weren't jacks, who's at the bottom of the fucking ocean. And you want to tell me the greatest love story that was ever produced, Best Picture, James Cameron, Titanic, you're going to tell me that has no basis in reality? Get the fuck out of here. And so I wanted to read this last thing before we go. This was from, it's called Unrequited Love. This is from a text, or excuse me, from it was from a post on, let's see if I can go backwards. There we go. From Rue, R-U-E. And this was a tweet. I'm sorry. She says, I fell in love with a boy once, unrequited. He was so shy. His family owned a cafe, and I would go most Saturdays to eat blueberry corn cakes. That's a white boy thing. That's a white person thing if I ever saw it. Yeah. And yearn. What the fuck? Friends would accompany me and encourage me to talk to him. I never did. But every Saturday, I make this breakfast for my kids, and she shows these pictures. In fact, here, I'll just share this screen with you real quick. It's where'd it go? This is making the rounds, by the way. I don't share stuff if I don't think it's like something worth putting out there. I think this is it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, here we go. That's a blueberry corn cake. Okay, so that's a blueberry corn cake. Was there any more? Oh yeah, okay. And then so she says, this was taken shortly after the brunch at his cafe. The tragedy of the unrequited part is that he was interested in me, but just as shy. The first time we encountered each other, we stood feet apart on an otherwise empty deck. He had followed me out, not speaking until I went back in. We had mutual friends, and we were friends on social media, so this couldn't be too long ago. Yet, LOL. I moved away, lost track of him. How do you lose track of him? Is it social media? Much later, after almost 2 years of being single, I Googled him when I was ready for love. found my now ex-husband's blog instead. They have so she actually found her ex-husband. So I presume she's writing this because she's now ex-wife. They have the same name, Dave and Dave. And how much do you want to bet? Their son's name is Dave. Yes, they have the same name. And now here we are. Anyway, feeling nostalgic for the sweetness of that time, I was in love with him for years from afar. Held everyone else I met to the standard he set for a man, which is why I dated so few. I think my marriage was cursed from the beginning because of the name. There's only one S. Oh, I guess it's Steve. I'll never look him up. There's no way he isn't happily married with a family somewhere in California. Don't cut yourself short. You might be a home wrecker too. He might not even remember me at this point. Oh, trust me, he does. This was 17 years ago. That's nothing. But I think of that romance, mystery, and innocence while cooking these pancakes and feel gentle fondness. What was it? I know, and then I know you're sad, but won't you? But you should find him again. This is chicks telling him to go find your alpha widow. How romantic. Go find your alpha widow. It doesn't matter if he's married and has successfully somewhere in California. If it were meant to be, we would have made it happen back then. It's far too late now. And anyway, he has the same name as my ex-husband. All right, that's enough of that. Stop sharing, please. Thank you. Oh God, I wanted to point that out because I like one of the things that gets me is like when people like want to throw, oh, here's some stats, here's some research. Like women don't actually do this, and I put out that information, that data set before about how what is it? I think it's like, is it now 70% of women have a plan B. They have a fallback guy in case things go sideways, in case this motherfucker dies, or in case this guy doesn't work out. Then I've got a dick in a glass case, right? I got an emergency out, right? I got a plan B. And I've read those stats before, and people just they hate that. So what gets me is whenever you put out unflattering truths about women, there's always some like spurgy dude who just wants to find some like the most obscure fucking data sets that they can to just like defend Milady's honor. And it's like this when I keep talking about like when I talk about like mental point of origin, like that's taking it to the next level, right? It's like your mental point of origin is so focused on women that anything that's possibly said that is in any way derogatory or could be construed as derogatory or unflattering towards women is then like cause for some holy fucking crusade to make everything right. And so when people come at me and they say, oh, you know, and then of course it was, oh, you know, the red pill didn't invent the alpha widow. No, I invented the fucking alpha widow. Here, would you like me to show you where it's at? At least the terminology anyways. You can go and look on the Rational Male here for alpha widow. Let me see if I can find it here. Alpha widow, there we go. I'm going to my site real quick here. I wanted to find the first instance of this. She's not yours. It's just your turn. That's Alpha Widow, if you ever saw it. Alpha Widows. I wrote this. This one was on the 2019, but it goes back further than that. Widows and War Brides. Yes, that's 2018. Let's see. Oh, I know what it was. It was the slut paradox, actually, was what I wrote about. Let's see if I can find it here again. 2013. I think that's when I came up with it. Was it what it is? God. You know, it kills me that I'm the one that has to go back through all this stuff and not these idiots, right? See if I can find, looking for the most. I know what it was. It was the slut paradox is what it was. It's the name of the other thing. Anyways, 2013. So yes, when as far as like the term alpha widow, like did the concept and the obviously it existed long before I came up with coined the term, but the idea or the concept is something that goes as far back as like the original, like the old school, like females, by the way, not men writing these stories. It was like, was it Emily Bronte and so is it Jean Grey or Jean Eyre? I can't remember. Whoever wrote Pride and Prejudice and those other ones. So, I mean, all of them are based off of the exact same dynamic. So clearly it's something that's happened. And so I don't give two flying fucks about like, oh yeah, here's some research that says like, you know, women are really, they just generally marry guys that they're really in love with and want to get with, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, then if that's the case, then why is it that there is so much it's not the red pill didn't come up with alpha widows. Emily Bronte did, right? I mean, like fucking romance novelists came up with the concept anyways. And who would it appeal to? It appealed to women. It appeals to women. So there you have it. Let me get to the rest of these real quick. Kill that out. Give me this. We got 4 to go. Here we go. Is there an email address where I can send you an email for asking advice? Yes, it's in the description right below you there. It's always there. It's rtrationalmail@gmail.com. And if you need to get in touch with me, you can always email me. All of my contact information is, you have to hit more on the description and then it's all down there. Amazing how that works, isn't it? It's a modern technological convenience. Yes. Rollo, how familiar are you with the typo negative? Very much so. Was it Christian Girl and what's the other one? Black number. Yeah, I'm trying to think of those. Yeah, I actually used to like those guys. I haven't been around for a while. And if so, what song do you think Corvus Corax, Black number 1? That one for sure. Corvus Corax. Jesus. Would the Raven Guard really listen to typo negative? Maybe. Okay, I'll give it to you. You know what? One of these days we're going to have to just do a dedicated Warhammer 40,000 stream and just like say, you know what? Okay, this is not Rational Mail. This is
we can make it a tabletop segment, have a camera over
the top. Yeah, playing games and stuff like that. That'd be awesome. I would do that. Scott Galloway wants to be a mascot of neutered masculinity. Yes, gelded masculinity. Because he fears the uprising of raw, trad Catholic white masculinity. Oh, is that what it is? Which will put the chosen people in danger. He is Jewish. Oh, is he? He is Jewish, as does Ben Shapiro. Okay. All right. The first men. Thank you for your 400 rupees or whatever the fuck that is. Right. Okay. Let me explain something to you guys. Groypers. Just from me to you. Okay. The election's over. You can stop Nazi LARPing now anytime you want to. It's all over. You don't have to keep this up. Like, I don't know what your contract says or the NDA, but maybe get until the 2025. I don't know, but you can stop LARPing now. Really, it's over. Fuentes is actually homosexual and wants to suck off Destiny. Trust me, I saw the video. He does. He actually does. Hey Rollo, you should trademark all of these terms that everyone uses without giving you any credit. I wish I could. They're copyrighted. Technically they are, because they're in my book.
You'd hit the problem with what was it, the Right Bros trying to do reaction?
Yeah.
Or not Right Bros.
I own the trademark to the Rational Mail. So it's a registered trademark. I've had it since 2015. All my books are copyrighted. They're mine. So they and like formally copyrighted, not just like I'll just let it go. And usually copyright goes to the author and you don't have to worry about it. I did copyright for all of my books. And the name is registered. So you know what I wanted to do? This is stupid. Okay, now we're at the end of the show, so I can be stupid. I didn't know you could do this, but you can. If you have like a face that is like Charlie Chaplin, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you have a face that's very like, even like if you looked at like Donald Trump and he's got the toupee thing, going, it's not a toupee. Yeah, it is a toupee. You could technically trademark his distinctive likeness. Mm. And I'm wondering how feasible it would be for me to do that.
I mean, would it be
to trademark my face, right? So because what happens then is if your face is if your distinct likeness is trademarked, then any of these guys who like, and you know who I'm talking about, fuck with you and want to do like some reaction video to you, or they want to dox you, or they want to talk shit about you, or they want to do some sort of burn video on you, and they use your face in the thumbnail. Gotcha, bitch. Got you. I'm going to take your ass to court. You're using my distinctive likeness and breaking my trademark. I'm wondering if you can do that. I bet you could. You'll probably cost you a shit ton of money, but I bet it'll be worth it. Oh, yeah. What it cost? Okay, so here's the thing. So if it cost you, let's say it cost you one amount of money to trademark your distinct likeness, Would that be less money than it would take for you to litigate a libel and slander suit? Probably less.
Yeah, I think
Probably less. So that if you think about it as trademarking your face as a fail-safe or an insurance policy for slander and for future slander and defamation.
Yeah,
Because then you go, I don't have to, because you're using my distinct likeness and I can get you on that trademark infringement, and I'll probably make more money doing that than filing a slander suit against you.
Yeah. Because
I
you,
bet you could
have
do
it
that.
right away.
I bet you could. I don't know why people don't do that more often. Yes. All right, Sammy, thank you for putting that in there. Here, let's throw that up there. Thank you. That's Reignite. Reignite is my group that is part of MOA, Men of Action. Join either one, please. You benefit both of us. I want you to join Reignite because that's my personal group. We talk to guys every week. We have a community based on school, SKOOL. We have you can have direct access to me. You can talk to me anytime. We just had a guy ask about personal, one-on-one stuff. I still do personal counseling and stuff. If you want to have a one-off, that's no problem. But if you want to join Reignite, or you want to join my my Patreon group, which by the way we'll be meeting on tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So if you're part of my Patreon group already, if you haven't joined my Patreon group, you can. It's only for the group calls, it's $200 a month. That's it. If you want to have a one-on-one with me, let me know. Email me, and I will send you my policies and my rates. If you have a one-off question, you can always get in touch with me through Minect. I can give you really brief answers and stuff like that. That's what I do for just quick hit questions. Like, hey, Rollo, what do you think of this ascot? Don't wear it. But Reignite is my main focus these days, and it's probably going to be my main focus certainly for the foreseeable future. So it's my first best way of sort of staying in touch with you guys on a one-on-one basis, helping you guys out with everything. We personalize your reconstruction, your sort of comeback from being zeroed out on an individual basis. It's not a cookie cutter thing. It is an individualized rebuilding, reconstruction, restructuring of your life program. And the way we do that is through community. We do that through networking. If you think you need to get in shape better, guess what? We've got guys in the fitness and dietitian communities. If you want to get into TRT or hormone optimization, we're going to legalize it. We're going to legalize Anadrol. I cannot do that. I cannot do this. That was good, man.
Yeah.
But if you think that's where you want to start, we have guys. Yeah, if you want to ask me what my routine is, no problem. But we have guys who are better than me at it, so I'll be happy to put you in touch. We have a whole network of guys. If you style, we got Jim Kilgore. We've got several other guys who help us with style, with body language. We've got. I'm trying. I would very much like to get Aaron Clary to come and just give a guest sort of speaker kind of thing. About finances, about economics, about the cost, the return on investment when it comes to intersexual dynamics and things like that. That probably would be what I talk to him about. But I have such a depth of network right now, and I feel like it's underutilized. So what I was thinking is, when I'm doing Reignite and we're trying to help guys sort of fight back from being zeroed out, I don't want you to delete yourself. I want you to recreate yourself. And that's really what Reignite is about. So if you want to join, it is reignitealpha.com. And I have all of the guys. So by the way, I also want to point out that if you got a connection from me, if you got a DM from me on Instagram, or I guess on Twitter as well, primarily on Instagram, if you get a DM and saying, hey, why do you like me? Why do you follow me? That is me. Okay. That's my people helping me out. Right. But it's actually a live human being. It's not AI. It's myself, and it's two other guys who I work with MOA. So when you are responding directly. I read every single one of those things. I have to. It's my Instagram, right? It might not be me that reached out to you, but it will be me that responds to you. So don't think that it's just like some sales pitch or something like that. I want you guys to know that we're doing this because I'm gauging interest in certain things. Do you need help with, your relationships? Do you need help with your finances? Do you need help with your physical state? Those kinds of things. I'm gauging interest so that I know how to direct my efforts. So don't think that it's just like, oh, this is just, I don't believe this is the real role. No, it's me. And I will be, if you say that, I'll be the first one to come jump in and go like, no, it's me, dude. You know? I'm asking these questions, and I'm doing this kind of outreach right now because I want to see what direction I need to focus my energies on. So don't think that it's not me. It is actually me. And why am I doing this? Well, I'm doing this because I want to create an individualized sort of solution for you, where you guys take that education and take that energy and take that actionable information, and you use it for your own personal individualized solutions, rather than me saying, oh, just follow these 12 steps for life and you'll be okay. It's not cookie cutter. The red pill is not one size fits all. Every guy has their own individual sort of like, you might have common problems, but each one has their own individual unique combination of situations that you need to deal with. And we have all the guys, myself, Joe Marin, we got Jim Kilgore is involved with this. We got Mike Sartain is involved with this, of course. And we have such a depth of a network here, and we're here to help. That's the best thing about this. And we're doing it live in real time. We're not creating some bullshit documentary. You know what I'm talking about. We're not, this is not just a podcast. This is not just like content for a blog. This is not just, oh, you're not going to be in my next book or anything like that. I'm doing this because I want to get my fucking hands dirty. I want to actually work with guys. And that's exactly what I've been doing really for the last like 3 months. So keep that in mind. So if you're interested in Reignite, the link is actually the second one down. Have a look at that. And there's like an introductory video that my boys will send you, and you see, hey, I want to be in this. I don't want to be in this. Fine. You know, keep watching the show, keep buying the books. Anyways. So, and speaking of the books, I'm going to start, on the next show. I'm going to start getting into some topics that are in the book, because I keep having all these guys. I feel like it's almost like remedial, but I have some guys coming up to me asking me, hey, what's a soulmate? You know, like, how come you're down on soulmates? Right. I haven't had that question in a long time. Or if they want to ask me about like the 9 iron rules of Tomasi, I think I might go over those as well. But I want to start focusing on elements of the book, because I'm starting to get more questions about the book recently. And if you haven't got it, please go read. And I might take that and direct it towards some of the other books as well. But I want to sort of get into some of the basic topics that I think people understand, or maybe they heard them from somewhere else. Like maybe they heard them on Myron and Fresh, but or whatever podcast or whoever. And they really need to have it explained to them, maybe in a little bit more completeness. So I want to start working on, at least with this show and some of the others, like even if I'm doing just quick hit shows, like if I'm doing 30-second, or 30 minute quick hit videos, I want to start working on some stuff that's like elements and conversations from the book. So if you haven't got the book, please go pick it up. It's at Amazon. It's the very first link in the descriptions below. And I think that's it. Well, we're going to get out of here. Happy Thanksgiving. We're not going to have Access Vegas on Thursday, obviously, because it's Thanksgiving. And what am I going to do what are you going to do for Thanksgiving?
I don't know. Probably work, honestly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, is your brother back yet?
Not yet, but most likely he'd be flying back in.
You want to come? You want to come and eat with us?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I'm going to. I probably shouldn't make this announcement. Myself and the guys in the band and my family are going to the George in the Durango. Okay. At 1:00 on Thanksgiving, and we've reserved a big gigantic table and stuff right there. So you're more than welcome to come if you want.
Oh yeah.
We'll go get some grub, get our grub on. I know that they're going to have like a Thanksgiving spread out there, and it's a really nice restaurant. The Durango is a really great freaking place, man.
It's
brand new too.
Brand new, yeah.
Yeah, it's brand new. So that's where we'll be on Thursday at 1:00. So you're more than welcome to come.
You should try that Mexican spot, Mijos.
Yeah. The food court there's fucking great too, man. But anyways, that's rapidly turning into my wife and I's favorite spot, because we're just right around the corner from it. So we'll be doing that. I think that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. And again, no Access Vegas. Access Vegas is coming back on the 11th of December, simply because we have Babes in Toyland coming up on the 5th and 6th in Los Angeles, and then we also have one coming up on the 12th. But we're going to do on the 11th because we'll have all the girls in for the Christmas. That'll be our Christmas show. Okay. And so that's coming up. That's going to be on a Wednesday instead of a Thursday, because Thursday obviously is Babes in Toyland. But do watch out for that. And of course, I will always be here on the Rational Mail, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern on Sundays. And we are gone.
I need to feel you on top of me. It was my first time. Hey y'all. But I was just a kid when we met and went to bed. It was my first time. Sorry. What do you expect from me? I'm breaking up the rules now in the game. I've got some new tools. Please do the same. Time can't win. Over like a matchbox stereo. Time to get my thoughts now let go. Bound to keep me up all night.
I feel like I just took a bath in battery acid.
But maybe we can fuck again. And maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know. If maybe we can fuck again. Then maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Best day of my life.
Well, I'm a horse.
Now we're fucking in the bathroom, tearing up every wall while I got your hair. Why you screaming my name?
That's nasty. It is nasty, right? Isn't it nasty? Ugh.
She was swinging in the bedroom, whole time stopping and stuffing with her hair. Like she's Claudia Kelly.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Want me? Ride me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song, getting messy. Working up and down on your body. Want me? Ride me up and down like a pony. Turning up my song on your body. Baby, we'll get down to it all now.
I'm gonna get a hold.
Maybe we can fuck again. And maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again. Won't you put it on me one more again? I need to know. If maybe we can fuck again. Then maybe things are different. Goddamn, baby, one more again.
Preceding podcast has been a production of the Rational Mail. All rights reserved. Registered trademark and copyright. 2024. Don't steal Big Mo stuff.
Tell these bitches to go to hell.
All right, all right, all right.
No, you're wrong.
God wants you to